in the lovely province of Alberta at playalberta.ca. It is hot, obvious. You know, how many people have came up to you? Hey, is it hot enough for you? Don't do it. Don't do it. All right, we all know it's hot. Maybe hopefully you're enjoying the heat. Some of you love it. Declan is rocking 2 jerseys. He's wearing a T-shirt and a basketball jersey today. Declan Kruger, of course, filling in for the comment. Deck, that's
it's a bold choice.
Yeah.
And
it's a black Miami Heat. It's not even like you're wearing like the white one. You're wearing black.
Well, to be fair, I got the white tee under it. So it's a little like, what is that? PED mass, the positives, negatives equal each other out. It's basically like I'm wearing one shirt, I think.
Yeah. So, but this now, obviously you're probably like most of us, you're not staying outside in that very often. It's basically from the car to the building, to the car to home.
Yeah, 100%. Not spending too much time outside today. Listen, this was a pure fashion choice. I'll admit it. This wasn't exactly practical, pure fashion, but I got to support the boys, got to support the squad, and I'm okay with my choices. I'm going to go ahead and say good shirt day today.
Good shirt day. All right. Well, Elk fans, is it going to be a good Friday? The Elks on the road in Ottawa, who they lost to last week at home on a last play of the game field goal. 3rd time this season the Elks have lost a game. Final play of the game. So they're in the games. They're just always on the wrong side of the outcome. They have a new interim head coach, Jarius Jackson. The OC is being promoted. Will we see a difference in the defensive play calling, but also, like, I don't know if we'll see a big difference in the offense, because I don't know if Chris Jones was that heavily involved in the offense. I could be wrong. We'll see, but this is it is go time here for the green and gold. They got to get a win, like, desperately, because if they win tonight, then they come home next Sunday against Hamilton, who is also winless this season. So we'll see. But Jason Shivers, of course, who's the assistant head coach, he was the assistant head coach, but he didn't get promoted to the interim head coach. Interesting. But he's the defensive coordinator, linebacker coach. We'll see maybe what he has up his sleeve for the green and gold tonight, because they obviously need a win. AJ Jakubek from TSN 1200 will join us. We'll talk about that game. We'll also get his thoughts on Jarventi. Of course, the Oilers trade with Ryan McLeod. Always good to get different guys' opinions on the newest member of the Oilers organization, who I think most likely is going to start the season in Bakersfield. Right? Like, I don't see a lot of room on the left wing side for the Edmonton Oilers. When you have Skinner, you have Nugent Hopkins, and you have Janmark, and you have Holloway. Oh, no, also have that Evander Kane guy. So, pretty good. Alan May will join us as we preview the Washington Capitals. All the moves the Capitals have been making, wheeling and dealing, and they just found themselves. Now, granted, it was going to be LTR space anyway, but Kuznetsov says, thanks. I'll take my $1 million signing bonus, because the Capitals pay $1 million of it. Carolina pays $1 million. But the other $6 million owed, I'm good. They mutually agree to terminate his contract, so saves them some cake. But the Capitals, who I think were a surprise playoff team for a lot of people last season. Charlie Linger and their defense, pretty solid. And we'll find out just how much better are they, because they made a lot of moves. You look at in the East, well, because Nashville obviously made some big moves, but the Washington Capitals, I think amongst Eastern teams, I don't think there's a team busier than them since the end of the season. Obviously, you go back to the Pierre-Luc Dubois trade, which of course was pretty big. Mangiapane they acquire in a trade. They get Brandon Duhaime as a free agent. They were wheeling and dealing, man. No, Matt Roy, free agent, trade for Jacob Chychrun. I'll say this. No hesitation for them at all. Logan Thompson. God, the list goes on, man. That's a lot of big moves. Like, I would argue that's more moves than Nashville. Like, Nashville got the big free agent signing, sure. And I'm not ready yet to anoint the Preds. I think they're a playoff team. They were a playoff team last year. I'm curious to see just how much better they truly are. I think Brady Shea might be the biggest addition to them when it's all said and done. We'll see. Stamkos should help their power play, which killed them in the postseason. I honestly believe they could have won that series against Vancouver if they had a pulse on their power play. It's hard to win a series when you're 9% on the man advantage. So we'll see. Eight 401-1440 is the text line for you to get involved. Brought to you by your electrical partner. Partner in power, excuse me, not power and partner. Well, maybe they are, but more your partner in power since 1976. And speaking of power, did you happen to see Rory McIlroy? Like, I've seen guys off the tee with quite the hook. Rory from 92 yards out. Like, that's what trust me, I've done it. Who hasn't from 100 or 92 yards taken your iron and just completely Now, I've never really snap hooked an iron before, but I can slice an iron with the best of them. It's not a good skill, but it's one I've had in my bag for many years. I did get a lesson, and that seemed to eliminate it somewhat. But man, that snap hook, I don't know if I can recall seeing that. I'm sure it's happened. I don't watch every golf tournament. But I'm curious out there for all you golfers. Snap hooking an iron from 92 yards out. That's when you know things aren't going well for him. So it's not good. Hey, boys, I'm listening from my pool in the backyard with the beer in hand from Lance. It's a good place to be, Lance. It's a really good place to be. You got some sunscreen on? That's the question. Now, when you say pool, what type of pool are we talking here? Is this like the pool that I had as a kid that I filled up and just, sit in it? Or do you have like a big installed backyard pool? And more importantly, do you have a diving board? Because if you have a backyard pool with a diving board, that is instant game changer. One of my friends, I've never had anybody who I knew in my circle who had an actual backyard pool until we moved to St. Albert. And I'm telling you, in the summertime, now I didn't go in it very often, but I might have been the greatest babysitter for kids ever. Obviously, kids who can swim. And I have to say, it was one where I'm like, I could see why I'd want it. Now, then he got into all the maintenance and how much you have to learn about it. So I was quickly deterred a bit. But how many of you have a backyard pool? Deck, you ever had a backyard pool other than like the little kiddie pool?
I never had a backyard pool, but I did go through a string of girlfriends in high school. And just after, I had 3 straight girlfriends who had hot tubs. So that was pretty nice come the winter months, but never a pool.
Yeah, no, hot tub's a game changer for sure. In the winter, it's not. Now, I know some people out there, they empty their hot tub and then they fill it up and they keep it cool. So it's kind of like a pool in the summertime. There's a few that do it. I don't know. To me, that's a lot of work. Good for you. I'm probably too lazy to do it, so I don't. But I like the pool. I'm a social member at the Glendale. Now that's a pool. That's unbelievable. So anybody like Lance with the humble brag of a backyard pool? I like it. Like it a lot. Hey, Gregor, I keep hearing about the Oilers and their GM, but I don't hear any names. How come? From Doug. Well, I'll give Jeff Jackson credit. He prefers to not have all of the names out there. Now, the one name that's being linked is Stan Bowman. That was a few weeks ago. Now I know some people are like, so Stan Bowman's name gets mentioned. Then a few weeks later, he gets a public recommendation from Sheldon Kennedy. A lot of people think this is setting it up for the Oilers to hire him. And they might be. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on what if. If it happens, then we'll discuss it. My opinion hasn't changed. I'm not sure it's worth it if I was the Oilers organization. That would be I look at it and say, hey, Stan's done all this stuff, to educate himself more on. That's great. And he never abused anyone. Let's make that abundantly clear. He never abused anyone. And actually in the letter, in the court document case, the findings from Black that state he never actually sent a letter. Right? So was there still knowledge of something? 100%. And he went to McDonough, sure. Obviously he's educated himself. I just look at it and I say, Edmonton, the situation they're in and how good of a team they have, is he clearly that much better than everyone else? Is it worth it? Or could you go find the next Stan Bowman? Because I look at the Oilers right now, and to me, it's very similar situation than the job Bowman got when he went into Chicago. And all you have to do is go look at Stan Bowman's first year, got the job in July of 2009. The Hawks had been to the conference final that year. This year, the Oilers got to the Cup final. The Hawks are a good team, right? They had all their core guys. They had Keith. They had Seabrook. They had Kane. They had Hossa. They had Taves. They had Sharp, right? Hjarmelson. Go down the list. They had them all. Really good team. Bufflin, Boland, that was a stacked team. Really good squad. Bowman came in as a GM after the draft, and really there was one kind of minor move that he made that year. He was the GM of record on the team, didn't really do a lot. That was Dale Talon and the previous assistant GMs who had built that squad. Now, he played a much bigger role in the 13 and 15 Stanley Cup champions, 100%. He had to move guys out, Bufflin and Boland, bring other guys in. His Johnny Oduya move, I think, probably was his best one, to be honest, right? Corey Crawford had already been drafted by the organization, and, he signed guys to contracts. He did a lot of work. But his first year, and he had NHL experience, he did not have previous GM experience when he took over that gig. So I look at the job for the Oilers right now, right? Bowman, I think he'd been within the organization for 7 or 8 years. So he'd done a lot. He had played his role helping out. So could the Oilers just promote one of their own? They could. I'm not sure they will, but they could. Or they could go get someone else. I don't think they need a massively experienced GM right now. Jeff Jackson was a former assistant GM, right? Longtime player agent. He was a GM of the Toronto Marlies, assistant GM of the Maple Leafs. He had experience, but he's not technically the GM. They had Ken Holland, but he was a part of it. And you look at the negotiations that they made for free agency and the trades, done pretty well. So is it worth the potential backlash risk? That would be my question. Hey, Gregor, is McDavid getting married today? Klaus and Beaumont. Klaus, you're asking the wrong dude. I have no idea. I don't. I try not to follow the players' personal lives too much on social media, so I don't really follow their Instagram accounts because that's where most people, not all, but that's where you post kind of maybe more personal stuff, pictures. But somebody out there will know for sure. I was 90% certain he's getting married in July, but is he getting married on a Friday? Might be a faux pas. I'm not a big believer in the Friday weddings. Now, I've been to some. I have no problem with them. Me personally, I wouldn't get married on a Friday. But people who do, no issue with it. So I know some of you out there will know. We could probably text Bag Milk at Oilers Nation. He would know. Declan, you or Donovan, either one of you know? Are you guys following the wedding dates?
Not my
McDavid?
thing. I looked over to Donovan. He gave me the shrug of the shoulders as well. So 0 for 3 here on the Jason Gregor Show today.
Okay, so that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. I don't. It's July 27th. There you go. So next, see, McDavid doesn't strike me as a Friday wedding guy. No chance. He's a Saturday wedding guy all day long. All day long. So next Saturday, a quick Google search, we found that. So there you go. Hey, Gregor, speaking of Corey Crawford, whatever happened to him? He had a good run. Hey, Corey Crawford was a really good player, right? But then he had his career ended. He had, did he not have concussion issues, right? Late in his career and, or some sort of visual thing? Because he retired right. I think was it during the COVID year of 19 and 20? I think it was, right? Because I thought when the Oilers lost to the Hawks, Corey Crawford was in goal, was he not? Is my memory totally off here? I think he was, but I think that was his last year. I'm not even sure if he played. Now I got to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure that was his last season, and he would have been third. Well, he wasn't that, like 34, 35. I think he was 34. Like, and he'd play pretty well. So there was nothing to suggest to me his career ended due to injury. And it's unfortunate because, yeah, he was pretty good. Hey, guys, as much I'm about redemption and forgiveness, hiring Bowman was said and mentions that looking out for players is not management priority. Oilers have become a free agent destination after years of needing to overpay. Unless there are no other candidates even close, I would stay clear from lost in Alberta. Guys, go get some AGM from recent winning organization and show them their tips and tricks, if you ask me, from Sam from Vancouver. You know what? You can have lots of other guys. I think there's lots of, like, I know Matthew Darsh has been a name that's out there. Sean Horkoff has put in a lot of work. Now, Horkoff is one where, you know what? College-educated guy, smart player, played all up and down the lineup, fourth line to first line. So I think he understands the necessities of different skill sets you need on your team. Right? Smart guy, right? He's put in his time in Detroit, so he'd be a candidate for sure. As I've said before, like, if you started today in some freakish weird world and every team now, we had the exact same rosters, but something strange happened. The NHL said everybody has to get rid of their GM. We're all starting from ground zero. And you had 32 teams and everybody could be like, hey, well, which would be the number one team? Everybody gets interviewed. Which job would you take? If money's going to be the same, and Cates has never really, Ken Holland was well paid, as he should have been, as Hall of Famer. Honestly, which GM jobs would be more attractive than Edmonton's? Right now, today, if you look at the roster, if you look at the contract situation of players, everything involved, is there a team that you would rank higher than Edmonton? If there is, it can't be many. Like, let's go through the list. Right? Vegas, no. Vancouver, no. Dallas, maybe, because you look at Dallas's core guys, there are lots of young, like since they're drafting here in the last 5-7 years, being unreal, right? So Dallas, maybe. Colorado, they're in like cap crunch, and they don't even know what's going on. They got injuries all over the place. Some key guys and lots of question marks. So I probably wouldn't even say Colorado. Winnipeg, no. Nashville, no. The Rangers, maybe. Florida, they just won. It's a pretty good gig. Close. Tampa Bay, they still got a lot of good players, but they're getting older. So probably not. Boston, no. Good team, like that is consistent. Did you know that the Boston Bruins since 2008, no one has won more games than the Boston? They only missed the playoffs twice since 2008. And the 2 years they missed it, they had 93 and 96 points. They missed the playoffs with 96 points in 2000 and I think it was 15. 14 and 15, I think, is when they missed. With 93 and 96 points. Like, that's unreal. They mean very good. But I don't see them being higher. Toronto, no. Like, honestly, can you name a team? Hey, guys, Hurricanes, maybe. But who's this? Do you have a superstar in Carolina? Right? Like, I like Carolina. Carolina's been the really good team that's never a great team. So, but honestly, I can't think of one. And I'm not being biased here. It's not because we're in Edmonton. I'm saying, like, let's look at it. Because trust me, for years we've talked on the show for decades. I think I've proven I'm not a homer. The Oilers, when they sucked, we said they sucked. And there was lots of years of suckiness, as you can all attest to. So I'm just curious if you can think of a team that you think the GM job, some would say, hey, Gregor, what about Chicago? Well, they got Bedard. So if you're looking more of a long-term play, yeah, potentially. But even with Bedard, like, he was kind of their first piece of their rebuild. And now they're trying to speed it up. I don't think it's going to work. I think they could speed up to get back to the playoffs. I still think they need one or two more high draft picks to help them with the percentages of those picks panning out. Because not every team's high draft pick pans out. Just because you get one doesn't mean it's always going to be good. So we'll see. Quick break. We'll return. AJ Jacobek will join us. We'll keep getting on the text. 833-401-1440 in our inbox. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
116. In Waterton, walk with a lean. The wind will always prop you up. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
The 100% Canadian beef McDonald's Western Barbecue Quarter Pounder is quite the mouthful. So, who better to sell it in 30 seconds than a 100% Canadian auctioneer?
Oh, mercy, it's back. 100% Canadian beef, topped with delicious smoky barbecue sauce and bacon. Who wants bacon? We got hickory smoked bacon strips, crispy onions. Who wants pickles? Not one down, better than 2 slices of processed cheddar cheese, served on a toasted sesame seed bun, and it's sold for a limited time at participating McDonald's restaurants in Western Canada.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is still the #1 company for families who don't want to see dad in his underwear. Come on, we warned you about a heat wave a while ago, and lo and behold, here we are. So call Legacy now before the heat wave convinces dad to cool down in a kiddie pool in your front yard. Yeah, we've still got air conditioners in stock, and yes, you won't have payments or interest for 1 year. Keeping dad from bathing in public during a heat wave. That's how you save your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
The Brick's Big Block Party is back with incredible pricing on items in every department. Find up to 25% off dining and bedroom packages, up to 40% off mattresses, and up to $840 off sectionals and sofas. Also, from Thursday to Monday, shop our fantastic specialty 5-day deals and find everything you need to outfit your home this summer. Plus, on Saturday, July 20th, enjoy free pop and all beef hot dogs, specialty sales, and family fun activities. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need, Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Durabuilt Windows and Doors. Whether you're a home builder, commercial builder, architect, designer, or doing renovations, Durabuilt Windows and Doors is your answer, providing customized products for all your window and door requirements. Durabuilt has been serving the Edmonton community for over 30 years. Durabuilt Windows and Doors, locally owned and operated. Visit them at durabuiltwindows.com.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need, Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Why tee off at the Ranch Golf and Country Club?
A fun, unique layout offering premier conditions. The Ranch has been ranked as one of the top public courses in Canada.
Unmatched value. Score Golf Magazine rated the Ranch as the best value in Edmonton.
The service, from tournaments to special events to the pro shop. Superior service that makes every visit exceptional.
The Ranch Golf and Country Club, a laid-back environment where anyone can enjoy an amazing day on the fairways. For details, visit theranchgolf.com.
Hey, Elks fans.
Jackpot! Touchdown!
Get on the Elks Party Bus for every home game at On the Rocks for only $35.
Included is a game ticket, round-trip transportation, and a prepaid Coors Light.
Reserve your spot now at ontherocks.com.
And OTR is your go-to for every Euro Cup game.
With $5.25 Heineken.
Their first major trophy.
It's the ultimate football experience.
Canadian or European.
Only at On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave and 118th.
Why tee off at the Ranch Golf and Country Club?
A fun, unique layout offering premier conditions. The Ranch has been ranked as one of the top public courses in Canada.
Unmatched value. Score Golf Magazine rated the Ranch as the best value in Edmonton.
The service, From tournaments to special events to the Pro Shop. Superior service that makes every visit exceptional.
The Ranch Golf and Country Club, a laid-back environment where anyone can enjoy an amazing day on the fairways. For details, visit theranchgolf.com.
Tim's Maple Bacon is back, featuring crispy, naturally smoked bacon with a sweet and savory maple glaze and a 100% Canadian fresh cracked egg, all on a new cheddar croissant. Try Tim's Maple Bacon breakfast sandwich today at participating restaurants in Canada for a limited time.
It's time for Tim's.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. The cheesy burger pizza is back. Beef, slicey dicey tomatoes, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. Grab it while it's here for the summer for $18.99 only at papajohns.ca.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Positive Friday continues on. How are you? Jason Gregor, Declan Kruger with you on a lovely Friday afternoon. If you got plans for outdoors, if you're a suntanner, you're probably going to be loving it right now. Now, if you're somebody who doesn't like the sun, might be an indoors book reading type of weekend for you. We shall see. Let's get to our football report. CFL Elks report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Where, hey, guess what? No payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. If you don't have it, this is the week where you're like, I wanted it. I've been waiting. Why didn't I get it? Well, give them a call. Check it out, legacyheating.ca, and they can hook you up. As we go out to Ottawa, where the Elks will be taking on the Redblacks. A thrilling, actually very entertaining game last weekend in Edmonton that came right down to, we thought we were going to overtime. You know, if the Elks knew how to squib kick it in the middle of the field, probably would have went to overtime. But in typical Elks 2024 fashion, they're like, wait a second. We are the best team at losing games. And they showed it again. Will that continue? Or maybe will the streak end tonight in Ottawa? AJ Jakubek from TSN 1200 joins us, of course, hosts the show there, is the voice of the Redblacks. AJ, I'm sure as you were getting set, you're thinking, oh, we're going to overtime. And then in a span of 8 seconds, it's like, no, Ottawa's going to a shower for a victory.
You know what? I've seen so many strange endings in the Canadian Football League in my 10 years of calling games that I don't take anything for granted. I mean, I saw a game here around 2017 with Winnipeg down, I think they were down 8 points, past the 3-minute warning. They kicked a field goal, kicked off, forced a 2-and-out, kicked another field goal, kicked off, forced another 2-and-out, and scored another field goal. Like, has that ever happened at any level of football where you score 3 times, you don't even force a turnover or an onside kick, and you kick 3 field goals to win a game in the last 3 minutes? I mean, that's the CFL in a nutshell. We saw Ottawa win a couple of weeks prior to that against the Ticats, where they had 28 seconds left, and basically with 6 seconds left, needed one more play to get Lewis Ward some extra yardage for a field goal. They got the 8 yards necessary. He kicked the game-winning field goal, and it's game over. So that's the one thing. I mean, I'm a fan of all football. It doesn't matter if it's NCAA, U Sports, NFL, CFL. I love both games. Some people are big on, well, I love the NFL and CFL's crap, or, oh, the CFL's got the best rules and all this kind of stuff. And to me, I don't care. It's football. But the one thing I will say about the CFL is the last 3 minutes and the time rules are way better.
100%.
Because you get games like that. You get situations like that. So, yeah, wild finish. I mean, Ottawa, in the end, some people kind of said to me, well, that's kind of a gift win for Ottawa. And I said, well, kind of would have been a gift win for Edmonton if Ottawa had over 500 yards to 300 plus for Edmonton and found a way to lose. And those are the kind of games that they lost last year. They lost 10 games in the last 3 minutes last year. So they've won all 3 of their games that have gone down to the wire this year. And it does feel like a bit of a different attitude. But look, there's a lot of parity in this league this year. And I'm not counting out Edmonton at this stage, especially after the coaching change, and we'll see what happens here tonight. I'm expecting another close one.
Now, I got some injuries in Ottawa. Who's out tonight?
Well, from last week, the starting right tackle, Zach Pelios, is out. Now, Jacob Ruby, who was in Edmonton before, he can play some tackle.
Yeah.
He finished the game last week there and played pretty well. So that should be okay. We'll see how it plays out. I mean, Devontae Dedmon is the big one. He got banged up in the game, didn't finish the game last week in Edmonton, actually returned to practice and got rolled up on. So it wasn't as bad as initially feared, but he's at least going to miss the next couple of games. So the return game, will suffer a little bit there because he's one of the best I've ever seen to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Gizmo to me is the best of all time.
Oh, yeah.
But, Devontae Dedmon is incredible in terms of just what he sees, how quick a burst he has, and just the ability to get through arm tackles as well. So he's the total package as a return man. Now, Tobias Harris, who's taking over most of those duties, he had a kick return for a touchdown last week. And then Khalil Pimpleton will be the second guy. And I think we saw in his CFL debut what kind of speed that he has. So I think they should be okay there. They do get Braylon Addison back as well. And that's that veteran American rule where you can utilize a guy 25 plays for Canadian players. So you will see at times tonight 5 different American receivers with Jalen Ackland, Dominique Grimes, Khalil Pimpleton, Braylon Addison, and Justin Hardy. So that's something to watch out for tonight as well.
AJ Jackiebeck joins us. AJ, what differences are you expecting, if any, from the Elks now that Chris Jones is out?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's difficult for me not being up close to it, so hard to really say. But I'll be honest, with how he has operated, just in terms of he's a guy with a bit of a combustible personality. It's amazing to me that's the first time he's been fired. Clearly he knows his X and O's in football, especially on the defensive side. You don't win as much as he won as a defensive coordinator, have the success that he had there. And obviously in, his first stint at Edmonton, winning a Grey Cup in 2015 without knowing your football. But just the personality, I'm surprised it's taken this long, quite frankly, to have something like this happen. And, I'm curious to see how the Elks are going to respond. Clearly they're in every game and they played all the best teams in the league. They're right there with Montreal. They're right there with BC. They're right there with Toronto. So I feel like this is still a very dangerous team. I don't think there's a lot to choose, especially in the West beyond BC. I feel like the Lions are the best team. The Bombers, to me, have so much winning culture that you can't write them off. But between Edmonton, Calgary, Saskatchewan, and even Winnipeg, I don't feel like there's a lot to choose from. And that goes back to those close games. And I feel like the tone was set in week 1, watching that game against Saskatchewan, where both teams had so many mistakes. It was almost like, well, which team actually wants to win here?
Yeah.
And Saskatchewan found a way to win, and they found a way to win 3 more. And, I've seen it in Ottawa the last couple of years, where 2 years ago, Ottawa started 0-4. They played Winnipeg, and Winnipeg was right at the height of their powers then to start the season. Probably should have split at the very least, lost both closely, then lost to a very good BC team. Then Jeremiah Masoli goes down on that brutal play by Garrett Marino, and it was season over. So it's funny how things can happen that way, but the Elks still have a real scary roster. I don't love how they looked defensively last week against Ottawa. Didn't get a ton of pressure on the quarterback, but my goodness, who's going to stop this team if they get going? You've got, I think you got 2 pretty good quarterbacks that do different things. And I'm curious to see if Jarius Jackson's going to use both Bethel Thompson and Ford, kind of like Winnipeg did a few years back with Collaros and Strebler, and different teams around the league have had success that way. So I still view this as a very dangerous opponent here tonight.
AJ Jackiebeck joined us from TSN 1200 in Ottawa. Elks and the Redblacks. Elks looking for their first victory of the season. AJ, I want to switch gears to the Oilers and the Senators. Of course, they pull off a trade earlier and send some young guys. Kind of a minor league deal. Now I know that Järventie has played 7 games for the Senators, and maybe he would have played more if he didn't injure his knee in January. His last 62 games, he's got 50 points, including 25 goals in the American League. That's pretty solid. What do you know about him? What type of player are the Oilers getting?
Yeah, so in one of the COVID years when the AHL was playing games in empty buildings and it was the Canadian division, Belleville was playing their games in Ottawa, and I did their broadcast that year. And so Yarventi, who, by the way, I don't know what he's going to come to Edmonton and say how to say his name, because I remember him telling me it was Roby Yarventia in Finnish, but you can call me Roby Yarventi. But then all of a sudden he wanted to be Robbie Jarventi a year later. And so I have honestly no idea what he wants to be called, but for these purposes, we'll just say Roby Yarventi.
Okay.
So he's got some size. One of the things I heard over the last few days, people say, well, he's, maybe they're bringing him in to be more physical. I haven't seen that out of him. But he's been a little bit of a perimeter player, and maybe that's why, he's on the move here, but he's got good size. He's got good skating ability. He's got a killer shot. He's one of those guys that you watch a game sometimes. Like I went to an AHL playoff game a couple of years ago when they played Rochester and barely noticed him. And next thing you know, he's got 3 points. So he's one of those kind of guys. But I will say this, he had a real good camp. Ottawa, of course, had cap issues this past year under Pierre Dorion and started the year, number one, without Shane Pinto before we knew about the gambling suspension. And they're starting, 17 skaters for the first couple of games of the season because they just didn't have cap space. And one of the casualties of that was Yarventi, who I think had a pretty good camp and had a legitimate chance to maybe be one of those extra forwards to start the season. So it feels like he's starting to break through as a professional. 20 points in 22 games before the injury. I do like the upside. I feel like, in talking to people of the 3 players that got moved, it feels like he's probably got the most upside of the 3, but, still an unfinished product. So we'll see how it plays out, but there's definitely some potential there. And, I would think he probably plays the year in Bakersfield, but maybe has an opportunity to be one of the first call-ups and maybe as a guy as well. You have to think, when I look at that blue line for the Oilers, they could still use a guy. Now, when I say use a guy, it's probably a guy come February or March near the trade deadline. And maybe that's a guy that they can use as a chip to get that defenseman at the deadline if they so desire. So I think there's a lot that you can be, that can be done with Yarventi, but in the meantime, still a player that does have some upside. I remember a guy like Nick Paul.
Yeah.
And he went through waivers here.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden just the light came on, he figured it out. And that's a guy that the Ottawa Senators missed badly as a guy that could be a middle 6 forward. So some guys it takes a little bit longer, but there's still a lot to like in terms of the tools. He just has to put it all together.
Yeah, that's fair. What about Bourgault coming into Ottawa? Where do you see him on their depth chart in the minors next season? I assume he's not going to be a guy that's going to compete for a job in the NHL, at least to start.
Yeah, I wouldn't think to start, but it's interesting because I heard, a couple of differing opinions on him, from people that have watched him a lot. So some people that thought, maybe he needed to compete harder at the AHL level, and that's why he didn't get an opportunity in Edmonton. But then some people still really like the upside and the skill that he had. And I know Jason Clark, who had him in junior, and he joined our radio station earlier this week, and he had, a lot of positive things to say about him as well. So, probably project for project. I think probably Bourgault's a bigger project at this stage, but I would think he starts the year in Belleville. The one thing I'll say, though, this is a pretty thin prospect pool up front for the Ottawa Senators. They got a couple of players that I like. One is St. Albert's own Zach Ostapchuk, and maybe he's a guy that can even fill in as fourth-line center as early as this coming season, but there's not a ton down there because they traded away a couple of first-round picks in back-to-back seasons to bring in DeBrincat and Chychrun, and both are gone. So they're still trying to stock the cupboards a little bit, and I think that could be a perfect guy if he can find his way. That there could be opportunity for someone like Bourgault here in Ottawa in the next couple of years.
Age, have a great call tonight. Enjoy the game, and we will chat with you again soon, man. Appreciate it.
You bet, Jason. Take care.
You betcha. That is AJ Jackiebeck from TSN 1200. So Bourgault could be better for him. Gets an opportunity to maybe play a little bit more. And hey, Yarventi, We'll find out how to say his name because a few different ways. He would have to have an unreal camp. And I think there's probably somebody maybe get banged up for him to start here, but you never know. And AJ said, hey, I think out of all the guys traded, he might be the closest. And I think that's fair. Well, considering he's actually played 7 NHL games and Bourgault's never really been close. Makes sense. 241. Speaking of close, we are a week away from the Olympics. I can't wait. What is your go-to sport that you like to watch? We'll talk about that and much more as we are joined, as always, every on Friday by a gold medalist. Coming up on 20 years since she won the gold medal, Lori-Ann Muenzer joins us on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Are you an expert in flat roofing or sheet metal fabrication and installation? Albatross Roofing and Construction wants to hire you. Candidates must have SBS modified bitumen experience and valid CSTS certification. Enjoy excellent wages, benefits, and career progression. Submit your application at roofingalbatross.ca today.
Hey Leduc, it's me, Grant Fedork from Leading Edge Physiotherapy. What you might not know is that I started practicing physio here in Leduc more than 23 years ago. In those years since, I haven't forgotten the kind and welcoming people that trusted me then. It feels great to be back, but I know we have to live up to our promise, and that's to live up to our name. This means bringing a leading edge focus on our environments, technology, communities, and the people who will care for you, like Graham Raymond and Amanda McIsaac, 2 locals who want to make a difference in your life. We're now open in Leduc. Learn more about us at leadingedgephysio.com.
CW Eves Troughing is busy. That's why they're looking for experienced troughers to run one of their trucks. To get paid top rates, contact CW Eves Troughing at 780-435-1492 or email info@cweves.com.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
The Toronto Blue Jays are on Sports 1440 every weekend. Catch all the action with play-by-play announcer Ben Schulman. The Blue Jays this Saturday and Sunday on Sports 1440, Edmonton's home for all things sports.
My utility bills are going through the roof. How can I take advantage of the sun and put my lazy roof to work?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Energy team reporting. When you're ready to make your home or business more efficient, Action Electrical has the power to install solar panel systems and EV chargers.
Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta with supercharged skills and strong family values. ActionElectrical.net.
Why tee off at the Ranch Golf and Country Club?
A fun, unique layout offering premier conditions. The ranch has been ranked as one of the top public courses in Canada.
Unmatched value. Score Golf Magazine rated the ranch as the best value in Edmonton.
The service, from tournaments to special events to the pro shop. Superior service that makes every visit exceptional.
The Ranch Golf and Country Club, a laid-back environment where anyone can enjoy an amazing day on the fairways. For details, visit theranchgolf.com.
Be melancholy, not melancholy. Summer is ripe for fun, and some Booster Juice bestsellers are back in season. Watermelon smoothies, including the refreshing Watermelon Wave, a berry burst of strawberries, raspberries, pomegranate, and vanilla frozen yogurt, and fan favorites, Watermelon Explosion, a refreshing burst of bananas, mangoes, and pineapple, both made with watermelon sorbet and probiotic yogurt. All of the watermelon, none of the seeds. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Get your Elks Party Bus tickets now, $35, which includes a game ticket, a ride there and back, access to the lower bowl party deck, and a prepaid Coors Light. Book your ticket now at ontherocksedmonton.com, Jasper Ave and 118th.
He's not just another pair of glasses. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for checking out Edmonton Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Where want to get in the game and play Alberta.ca. Of course, MLB is officially back today. Also, $65 million up for grabs in Lotto Max. You can get your tickets at playalberta.ca, and 28 mil for tomorrow's gold ball jackpot in Lotto 649. Let's get to our big guest of the day now, brought to you by the Hockey Super League, a premier hockey solution with a clear path for long-term development in provincial and cross-province competition. Learn more at hockeysuperleague.ca as we welcome back to the show, of course, coming up on the 20-year anniversary of winning a gold medal in the Olympics in 2004. Lori-Ann Muenzer joins us once again. Lori-Ann, how you doing?
Doing awesome. Happy Friday, Jason.
I'm good. I'm great. Happy Friday to you. And I'm sure as it gets closer, like every year as a former Olympian, you must get fired up when the Olympics come around, just because you remember the excitement of it, the frustration, the discipline. Like there's so many different things that go into to being an Olympian, and you're one of the lucky ones. Like there's not a lot of people who can say they won a gold medal in any sport, right? So that's something that to always be proud of. But I always like to talk about the different elements of it. And here we are; it's a week away, right? Now, some people will be 2 weeks away, depending on when your event is. But still, you're getting down to crunch time. I'm sure the excitement's there. A lot of the athletes are already over, and most of them are already over in Europe. They're preparing, the training, getting acclimatized to, the different time zone, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What about, are you allowed on the Olympic track at all prior, or do you only get to be on the track for whatever your event is once it opens up? How does that work?
You are allowed in certain venues. So when you get into the Olympic village, you have to go through check-in. You get this thing called accreditation, and you have to wear it. Well, you used to have to wear it because it was like a placard, and it was like a neck, a lanyard, and it would get you into the cafeteria. It would get you into the village. It would get you into your venue. So you're limited to where you can go, but the village is the village. Your venue is your venue.
Okay.
And there's a certain training, and then there's the racing schedule. So you will have a limited amount of training time. You can't just go and show up whenever you want.
So do you have a set time then?
Yes, you do. So when I was in Athens, I have a better time of training in the morning. Some of our races was in the evening. But we didn't have a choice of when it was that we got to train. It was like you only had a 2-hour window. That's it. That's all. You could go to the venue anytime you wanted. You could be there all day. But to be physically on the track, I could only be physically on the track for 2 hours. And they literally yanked riders off, like done. And
I assume when you're on the track, it's not like you're getting the whole track. It's impossible. So you're out there with how
you're
many
sharing
other,
them.
Yeah.
You're sharing it with a number of other athletes and another number of teams.
Right.
So the different countries, and you don't necessarily know until you get the schedule. So the schedule gets passed down to the coaches. So you know exactly, and then you can prepare how you're going because they have the whole schedule laid out. It's not just, the day before. Right. But then there's also the schedule of when the racing starts. So, there's TV, there's media going on. So there's a certain time period before your racing starts. And then there's a certain time period after the racing is done that it's open track. But then again, there's another schedule for that too.
So, but how early? So the opening ceremonies is next Friday. Mm-hmm. Is the village open like Monday? Is it open today? How early in advance could you get into the village?
It's already open. I don't know exactly. Is it 30 days before or something? It's probably a couple of weeks because one, they got to be ready. Number two is some of the teams, they're not going to do opening ceremonies because their event is the next day, right? Or the next night or something like that. The whole schedule has been already laid out. So it doesn't come as a surprise. It's a known factor. It's one that is controllable and that you can control because you know what to expect. And it's like, okay, well, I only have 2 hours, which is fine. So when I had a time spot of say 1 o'clock till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I was at the track at 11. I was doing my warm up. so that I was already ready, warmed up. I had all my stuff at the track. I didn't start getting there at 1:00. I mean, that'd be death. And then at 1:00, I was like, my foot was on the track. I was on my bike and I was up on the track.
Now, confidence is a unique conversation in any sport because I think sometimes people are like, well, you're a professional athlete. How can you not have confidence? You're an Olympian. Lots of them have competed at the World Championships. You know, lots of them have been top 10 finishes, top 5 podium finishes. You get to the Olympics, Lori-Ann, and even though you've done World Championships and everything else, and it's different, right? Like the whole world's watching. The whole world doesn't watch the World Championships for a lot of individual sports. Like the fans of those sports do, but this is now, because I know for myself, I watch the Olympics. I'm watching as many different sports as I can. And many of our listeners and viewers are the exact same way. They're like, oh, this is great. I'll watch cycling. I'll watch swimming, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. And so even though they're watching, but you're playing and competing in probably some of the biggest crowds they've ever competed in, how much of a battle is confidence in the Olympics compared to other events?
It's everything. And it's like what we've talked about with Oilers and NHL is it's something that you build up, but you practice it over and over and over again so that when you get to Game 7 or you get to the start of the Stanley Cup or the Olympics, it's one thing to have, 3,000 people in the stands, but then there's how many billion people watching. That's the pressure that gets you because you can actually physically see the people in the stands, but then it's the unknown of how many people are watching. And I can tell you, your confidence can literally go out the window so fast. And it's 1 minute it's there, and then the next minute it's gone. And then it's hard to bring it back because then you have to do something that will literally bring you back in an instance because you can be feeling great. Somebody will say something or you'll get a flat tire. I got 2 flat tires, one while I was racing, one while I was riding at 60 kilometers an hour, and the other one had exploded in the pit. And I'm going, shoot, I have no more racing wheels. I have my training wheels, but I don't have another set of race wheels. What am I going to do? And this is just going on before the semifinals. That could have blown my whole confidence, my whole mental plan, because everything that you're doing, Jason, it's leading up and up to that pinnacle moment, whether it's that one race or it's do or die, I've got to do this, or if it's the first of 3 heats or whatever the rounds are. And it's like, okay, you've got to come back to it. But what you have to do is you have to take yourself outside of all of the chaos and just quiet everything and come to one point, one spot. And it's something that as athletes, everybody's spot is a little different. And you come back to that spot to reground your mindset, to reground your breathing, because then it's like, you're shifting yourself into neutral. Like if you're in a standard car, you come into neutral. Okay, where am I going? Am I going forward or am I going backwards? At the Olympics, you want to go forward. So you're always thinking about what am I going to be doing? And you're always working with those positive images, those positive vibration, those positive words. And they're going to either flip you on your butt or they're going to catapult you across the finish line to where you want to go.
Lori-Ann Muenzer joins us. There are athletes who become successful even though they battle bouts of lack of confidence. It happens. I don't know many athletes who are just like, oh, I'm confident all the time. I wake up, I'm confident. I go to bed, I'm confident. Everything.
I don't know any athlete that's confident 100% of the day.
It's going to vary. You learn to block out, I would think, the questioning and the lack of confidence more than, always have confidence, right? Is that fair? That's a bigger challenge, is blocking out the internal naysayer.
It's one of them. I mean, there's a number of things, right? It's who's in your support network, who's in your circle of influence. And then what is your preparation like? Because, we think about it, even when we go to work, we got to prepare for a meeting. Oh, I'll do it last minute. And then it's not a great meeting because I wasn't going in and I wasn't as prepared. So in athletics, it's identical. It's the same thing of what is my preparation? What can I control? And it's what can I do to mitigate those naysayers, because they're going to be around. People are going to ridicule you. Oh, like you just here for the trip. You're here just because. And there's so much jam and crap that goes.
What was It's funny what some people will say to somebody else who's had a lot of success and they've really had none in that circle, and they talk to them as like, well, who are you? Do you remember, like, did you have somebody where you're like, oh, F you, I'm going to show you?
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It was just, a lot of the times it'd be like, that's the end of the conversation. Next question, or let's talk about something else, because I was not going to go there. I made sure that what was around me, I could be in charge, I could control, and I knew where it was going to go. I knew what I wanted to accomplish. And if you were thinking something else, then we'll chat later. Like, it's not worth my time.
Right. But did you always have that, or did you have to learn that?
I had to learn that because I was too polite sometimes, and you just let somebody go on and on and on and on, natter, natter, natter. And it's like, oh, just shut up. That's what I really wanted to say. It's just shut up. Or it's like some people, they just talk and they talk, I don't know, to hear themselves, but it's just like, okay, you're not like, are you even listening to what you're saying? And a lot of times, most people they're not even aware of what they're saying. And it's like, good God, if you heard and listened and thought about what you were saying, you wouldn't be saying that stuff.
Yeah. No, that's totally fair. So, we've talked a little bit about the confidence factor and the preparation, and they're very much intertwined, obviously. What are some things that non-Olympic, like myself and the majority of our audience, maybe don't understand about the Olympics? What's the games within the games that happen?
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, there's so many things. What is the preparation that goes on? Like, what do you need? What are a couple of the base foundations? I would say, number one, sleep. Do you go to bed at the same time every night? And do you get up every morning at the same time? Are you getting 7 hours, 7 3/4 hours, or are you an 8 or 8.5 hour person? If you're getting 4 or 5, it's like, okay, but what is your optimal? The other thing is nutrition, right? Is what are you putting in to fuel your body and your mind? It's not just your body, but it's also fueling your mind. And where do you want to go with this? Are you putting in junk? Are you putting in crap? Or are you putting in high octane? I was always going for high octane. Like when I went to work, I would have a massive salad and everything was in it. Carbohydrates, protein, and then, oh my goodness, vegetables like crazy. And then I was asked, what was my salad dressing? And I said, lemon juice. And they're like, oh, come on. Like, you got to do some sauces and stuff. And I'm like, bleh. I don't like sauces. I'm not big on that. I want like really good flavors. Like, give me a Nando's
pesto.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's
Okay.
like so good. Nando's peri-peri sauce. Set your mouth and your head on fire.
Oh, that sounds hot.
Oh, it's so good. And then lemon juice, right? Some pepper in it. And then it wasn't until after I had won my gold medal that they went, oh, I know why you put lemon juice on, because everything was coming down to 1/1000th of a second. And if it meant I could go faster without the sauce, the fats and the junk, then yeah, I was going to do it. So another thing is, what are you prepared to give up or change? And most people don't understand that. Well, if I give up, say if I give up pop, or I give up maybe the wine on the weekend or the beer on the weekend, most people aren't thinking about what will they gain from that.
They're thinking what they're losing.
Yes. And it's like, well, sometimes people think about it, well, I have to sacrifice my weekends. It's just like weekends are never going to be the same. No, that's not true. It's just, what will you replace that with? That food, that alcohol, or that event, or doing this habit. And that's the one thing as an athlete, oh my goodness, you take your life under a microscope. I had to take my work under a microscope because I also worked full time. So I trained before work, I trained after work, I ran my errands at lunchtime, and I had it down to a science. But I also looked at, how am I spending my day? Where am I spending my day? What am I doing? How long am I at one place? How long am I at another place? And it's really interesting because most people don't think about that.
Well, it also takes a lot of self-discipline too, right? I think at the end of the day, like a lot of us look at and they see, well, I'd love to be a professional athlete, right? I'd love to be a movie star for some people, and maybe a rock star, right? And in a lot of cases, there's a ridiculous amount of work behind the scenes. It's very hard and it's kind of monotonous. And like, there's very few people I know that love training. There's a small percentage of people that love it. Like I know
I love training.
like Gizmo Williams. There's few people I've met like they love it, right? Like Giz is probably still as in good a shape now as he is when he played, right? Like I just ran into him. He is now. He also, if you get to know him, he's talked about how there's lots of illness in his family, and so for him, there's a fear motivation in a way. Yeah. But still, there's other people that have it, and he's wired that way, and for him, that's where he gets his release of excitement is to train, right? And obviously, it's the same with you,
and that's something else right there that most people don't know. It's energy expending is what we do as an athlete. That's like crazy high levels. But as a human being, we get energy from people, like people that we love around us, but we also have to expend the energy, because if you don't expend the energy, it does bad stuff, Jason. Yeah. It really does. It plays with your head. It plays with your body. There's illness stuff that comes. And the one thing that will abate it is movement of any kind. Like even if you're maybe not so active, getting out 15 minutes every day, like outside, as long as it's like not minus 25 or minus 40 or you're dressed for it, but get out and move, because most people don't move. We're at our desks. COVID's made us inside and just, we'll just hop on a Zoom call. It's like, are you kidding? Get out, get moving. Part of your day, you're going to feel a million times better. You're also going to get more ideas, and you're going to do stuff better and better. You're going to think stuff better.
One last one very quickly. We got a minute. So the final week of preparation, what's the number one error athletes have to avoid?
Overtraining.
Okay.
Overtraining is the death. It's the hard part of pulling back the reins. And you've got a periodization, so you have your plan set out, and you must follow that plan. If you totally believe in the coaching program, what's been written out, what's been scheduled, follow it to a T. Don't change it. Just follow it. Because if you think, well, I got to just ride my bike one more time, or one more hour, or I got to swim 10 more laps or 100 more laps, there's a feeling with it, and you have to channel that inside energy. And you've got to use it mentally versus physically, because there's a time and there's a place, and it's better to go in undertrained than it is overtrained.
I love it, Lori-Ann. I look forward to all the Olympic chatter, especially when we get into the cycling portions of it. It's going to be fantastic. We'll probably have you on for extended segment for those, so I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason.
It's Lori-Ann Muenzer joins us every Friday here on Sports 1440. Of course, gold medalist for Canada at the 2004 Sydney Olympics. Let's get to Declan Kruger and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Hockey Hero Society. And they have their big golf tournament in conjunction with the NHL alumni. They've teamed up. Terry Ryan, amongst others, will be there September 6th and 7th. The gala is the 6th. The golf is at noon on the 7th. If you want tickets to the dinner or just want to sign up before some, go to hockeyheroesgame.com. It's where you can register, and you'll help out a lot of kids get into sports.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update, we start in the CFL, a doubleheader in Friday night football, kicking off, of course, with the Edmonton Elks in action out in Ottawa. Kickoff at 5 p.m. for that one, the first game of new interim head coach Jarius Jackson's time. Edmonton Riverhawks also in action tonight as they take on the Springfield Drifters in the first of a 3-game series at home. First pitch for that one down at Remax Field will be 7:05 p.m. Open Championship continuing to roll on as Shane Lowry leads the field at 7 under par. Justin Rose and Daniel Brown both tied for second at 5 under. The two Canadians to make the cut were Corey Connors, who is tied for 7th at 1 under par, and Mackenzie Hughes tied for 13th at +1. Adam Hadwin and Nick Taylor both missing the cut. MLB scores, one game in action right now. The Diamondbacks leading the Cubs 5-2 in the top of the 9th. Other games on the MLB today as the league returns to form. We'll see the Phillies and Pirates in about an hour and a half's time. The Reds and Nationals go Reds, Rays and Yankees, and the Tigers in Toronto to take on the Blue Jays. Chris Bassett will be on the mound for that one. 5:07 will be the first pitch. Speaking of the Blue Jays, veteran Canadian Joey Votto is inching towards making his debut for the club. The 40-year-old native of Toronto, who has missed the entire 2024 season after suffering an ankle injury, is slated to play his first game with the AAA Buffalo Bisons tonight at just after 5 o'clock our time. The Blue Jays have also activated right-handed relief pitcher Yimi Garcia from the 15-day injured list and recalled right-handed reliever Eric Swanson from Buffalo. One more piece of news in the sporting world is the Baltimore Ravens are set to sign former Bears safety and two-time Pro Bowler Eddie Jackson. That's going to do it for us here in Hour 1. Hour 2 is on the way, where we'll hear from Alan May from the Monumental Sports Network and Larry Jackson, a NASCAR driver in the Pinty Series. I'm Declan Kruger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
The summer road lays ahead. Your potential destinations are endless. Volvo Cars Edmonton gives you choice to match. Right now, lease a 2024 Volvo XC90 from 0% for qualifying loyal customers, or save $7,000 on all new 2024 XC60 recharge plug-in hybrid models. All demo vehicles come with a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty. No matter what you decide this summer will become, your first choice is Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest. Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Center's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
The 100% Canadian beef McDonald's Western Barbecue Quarter Pounder is quite the mouthful. So, who better to sell it in 30 seconds than a 100% Canadian auctioneer?
Oh, mercy, it's back. 100% Canadian beef, topped with delicious smoky barbecue sauce and bacon. Who wants bacon? We got hickory smoked bacon strips, crispy onions. Who wants pickles? Not one, down better than 2 slices of processed cheddar cheese, served on a toasted sesame seed bun, and it's so for a limited time at participating McDonald's restaurants in Western Canada.
Rule number 37. Elk Island mosquitoes don't believe in personal space. Keep bug spray ready at all times. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules, and if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days, because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
You adore your Audi, value your Volkswagen, baby your Beamer. But some of that love fades when repairs take several days and tons of cash for the dealership to do their magic. Let Cochran's Automotive rekindle the flame. They'll professionally repair your import, usually in one day. Audi, BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, Honda, and Toyota. Cochran's Automotive will return her to mint condition. Open at 7 a.m. Let Cochran's Automotive repair your automotive air conditioning before things heat up. Cochran's Automotive, 780-452-5001.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fan. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Hey, it's Scott from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge. It's our final clear out of classic Ram 1500 trucks, and I do mean final. This is your last chance to get 25% off a brand new Ram truck. We still have some inventory left, but when they're gone, they're really gone. Or get an iconic Jeep Wrangler with up to $7,500 off. 0% financing available on every model. And we have a couple of the rare 500 horsepower 392 Wranglers in stock now. St. Albert and Sherwood Dodge, Edmonton's best rated Ram and Jeep dealers.
Your Edmonton Riverheads invite you to their Field of Dreams on Monday, July 22nd. BASF and Vigor presents a corn-filled evening with a salute to the classic Costner baseball movie and all your favorite quotes. Get your ticket to fun and watch the Hawks play at GoHawks.ca.
Feels great to be back, but I know we have to live up to our promise.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantor. We are excited to announce that we now have machining capacity in-house. Quicker turnarounds, improved quality control, and ultimate flexibility. Call 780-436-2000 or email colin@cantor.com to find out more.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
As a Friday continues on, we are rolling through. Hope you had a great week. Big plans for the weekend. It's going to be hot. You can watch the Elks tonight. Of course, they take on the Redblacks. Can they get a win? Can the green and gold figure out? I don't even know if it's can they get a win. Can they figure out how to not lose the game? Because honestly, I think in a lot of their games, that's been their bigger issue. You know how the Oilers used to gift goals? The Elks like to gift games right now is what they do. It's not, and it takes a while because the Santa Claus for the Oilers took a while for them to kind of get over that consistent. We play well for long stretches and then boom, give it away. And in a way, it's kind of what the Elks have been doing. Play well, we're competitive. Big bonehead miscue, boom, costing the game. Because you can go back and we can look at the games that they've lost. And there was a few really noticeable plays in each game that ended up costing them. So we'll see if that goes or not. Hey Gregor, I noticed that Votto's playing. I think he'll play for the Jays this year. I noticed that too. He's finally healthy, right? He's going to start in AAA. I think his odds of playing are probably going to increase because the Jays are likely going to get rid of some players here down the stretch. And if you're the Toronto Blue Jays and you're out of it and you get to mid-August and Joey Votto is playing decent in AAA, I'd say it's probably a foregone conclusion he gets called up. Right? He's one of the greatest, if not, is Joey Votto, well, Fergie Jenkins, pitcher. But as far as a Canadian-born baseball player, Larry Walker's pretty damn good. But man, Votto he's right up there. He was really good for a long time. And I think that to have him play for the Jays would be a nice story. And if they're not in it, which right now doesn't look like they will be, yeah, I think there's a good chance it could happen. 833-401-1440. You can text us in our email inbox, 833-401-1440. Let's get to the 2-minute warning now. Brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. Stay cool all summer. LegacyHeating.ca. Cam Tate, of course, longtime journalist in our city. Cam has cerebral palsy and is unable to speak clearly enough to be on the radio, except now through the wonders of technology, the words of Cam Tate come to life in audio form in the 2-minute warning.
Thanks there, Jason. Just love your shirt today. You certainly have it going on. Okay, here we go. I hear there's a football game tonight. Canadian Football League in Ottawa. Redblacks, Edmonton Elks. And oh yes, the Elks have a new head coach, replacing general manager and coach Chris Jones. Here's your headset, Mr. Jackson. That would be Jarius Jackson. Now, from this side of the laptop screen, there's one thing, and one thing only, Jackson can do which could really, and I mean really guarantee a win. No, it isn't changing any game day routine, like putting his right shoe on before his left shoe. No, it isn't sitting in a different seat on the team bus on the way to the stadium. No, it isn't going around to sit beside each player in the dressing room, telling them they are the key to winning tonight. No, it isn't flip-flopping the defensive scheme from zone coverage to man on every other scrimmage. No, it isn't throwing the long ball, Hail Mary if you will, on every single offensive play, everyone. No, it isn't giving a fire and brimstone speech before the game. Reference a whole lot of famous quotes from even more famous people, ending the talk, standing on a three-legged chair, quoting the great Winston Churchill. You know that quote, right? When you are going through hell, keep going. No, it's not having an information session right after the Churchill on how hell itself is almost as hot as it is right now in Edmonton. No, it's not running out on the field yelling, "Let's win this for Coach Jones." No, sir. There's one very simple thing Jackson can do to not only put his own stamp on the Elks, to guaranteeing a win. That one thing? Start Trey Ford at quarterback. The 2-minute warning with Cam Tate. Gregor Show. Monday, Friday, Sports 1440. Ice cream. Anyone.
Yeah, I think a few of us. Tater obviously making reference to yesterday. So he's got a little funny clip, old Tate, man. He pays attention. It's good. Hey, we'll see about the green and gold. I think many of you, like Tate, are curious in how different it possibly could be. The great news for Jarius Jackson is he takes over as an interim head coach for a team that is winless. So let's look at it realistically. Pretty good chance that they can be better. The only way they could be worse is if he goes 0-6 in his first 11 games. If he goes 0-5, he's the same. Although I guess he go 0-5 and lose by way more. So I guess there's that. But there's not much room to go below the standard that he has inherited. That's the good news. Now, the challenge will be that it's not like they got a boatload of new players that have come in. Is there going to be, like, if you look at the Oilers when they were 2-9-1, the Oilers had a good team. They had good players. And the Elks believe they've got some good players. Edmonton, there was a lack of confidence there, but they did make some significant shifts in the coach. Like, look how he took Draisaitl and McDavid off the penalty kill. He gave more responsibility for guys lower down the lineup. He told his defensemen, we want more plays from you. Football is a different game, but I'm curious, like, can they find a way to commit more to the run? I outlined it. People were talking about, well, look at Trey Ford's numbers. Bethel Thompson's clearly a better quarterback because he passes more. Well, yeah, he's attempted 15 passes more per game. Trey Ford was 22.7, and it's 37.2 for Bethel Thompson. Of course, he has more passing yards if he's attempting more passes. You should be. Right? But his actual yards per catch, Trey Ford was 9.1, Bethel Thompson's 8. They won games with Ford. They've yet to win one. But the big difference was, even though Ford's passing yards were down, their rushing yards were infinitely up. And not just from Ford himself, mainly from Kevin Brown. Kevin Brown, how about this for a number for you? Kevin Brown in 5 games this year. Deck, do you know how many rushing yards Kevin Brown has in 5 games this year?
I know the number roughly. I think it's like around 175 yards.
Yeah. So 35 yards per game. He had 800 yards rushing in the 10 games with Trey Ford. So that's 80. So he's half. And that doesn't include Shannon Brooks for a few. And then it obviously doesn't include Trey Ford. So can they get a more balanced attack? I get that it's a passing league, but I don't think you want 35 yards rushing a game and 300 passing. That's not a good enough split, right? You need a little bit better from your running game. For a few reasons. It could at least potentially keep the defense off the field more, right? You get a timely run here, there, the clock's running, so you're taking more time. When you're on the field, it allows the defense to rest. That's key. But it also, right now, opposing defenses look at the Elks offensive line, and I don't think they're intimidated by them in any stretch. So they don't really have to respect the run, and they definitely don't have to respect Bethel Thompson scrambling. It's not his game. So you can pin your ears back and go at him even more. But when you throw in Trey Ford, and then you throw in Brown and their ability to run and how they used to run with Brown, and I think I'd love to know how much of the threat of Trey Ford opened up even more of the running game for Brown last year. Is it just psychological, or was there some systemic stuff? I'm going to ask Jarius Jackson next time we have him on the show because I'm curious. It's not a knock on Bethel Thompson. It's just the truth that one is a better scrambling quarterback than the other, right? They just are. So what's the benefit that Trey Ford could potentially bring? And at some point, do you have to do it? Like, do you have to consider putting him in? Like if they lose tonight, to me, they have no choice. They have no choice to do it. So we'll see. 833-401-1440. The Open Championship, if you missed it today or just the whole tournament, well, Shane Lowry, the clubhouse leader, halfway through. He's at 7 under. Daniel Brown, Justin Rose, 5 under. Rose was shot a 3 under par today. Billy Horschel, Dean Burmeister, and Scotty Scheffler. He's lurking. They're 2 under. And then Corey Connors, the Canadian, tied for 7th with Xander Schauffele and Jason Day, Patrick Cantley. So once again, Corey Connors enters the weekend. Decent spot. Tied for 7th. Mackenzie Hughes is tied for 13th. Got an outside shot. Adam Hadwin made the cut. So that's good. Now, at the other end of the spectrum, you have guys like Tiger Woods, plus 14, Justin Leonard, plus 16. You know, some of the other guys that you thought, Cameron Smith, what happened to him? Remember when people are like, oh my God, they're losing Cameron Smith. That's a big blow. Did he just take the money and be like, meh, I don't need to play that well? I haven't heard. Did you Rory? We talked about it earlier with the duck hook from 92 yards out. He's plus 11. Obviously, a tough weekend for him. So, I'm curious who you like heading into the weekend. Hey guys, you know that a member of the Elks is on a former member of Elks is on Big Brother Canada. Again, no, I did not. But thanks for sending this in, John. Cam Sullivan Brown. Now we looked up Cam Sullivan Brown after you sent us that text. Thank you very much. And he was in training camp, but didn't actually ever play in a regular season game. So there's my question to you as a sports fan. If you never play in the NHL, you're not an NHL player, correct? To me, you got to have played now, if you play preseason NHL game, do you count that? I don't. Do you? Would you? Yeah, NHL player. Played for the Oilers, which in theory is true in preseason. But it's not in the official stat. I don't count it. Deck, what about you?
I do not.
Yeah.
No, I think there needs to be game action. It's an accomplishment in and of itself to get there, but I do think there needs to be game action for that moniker to be attached to you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wouldn't he did Brown, I don't think he ever played a game in the regular season. So for me, I can't put him as a CFL player. Going to training camp, great accomplishment, don't get me wrong, but not CFL guy. I think most sports fans would tend to fall into that category, that you have to play a regular season game to say that you played, like that you were official that guy. Right? Before the days of the internet, you know how many people played in the NHL? How many guys at bars, played in the NHL? Like, when I was younger, I remember meeting people, and I was, obviously was a huge sports fan. And so I remember, oh yeah, that guy played. I'm like, oh yeah, what's his name? And they'd say, and I'm like, I don't think so. Right? And then obviously you'd have to do a lot more research. It's not like you just pull out your phone. Nowadays, it's, you can look up at Hockey DB, you can look at Elite Prospects. You'll find out really quickly if they played anywhere or not. Right. But so I'm sure you each probably have a story. If you're a little bit older, there's somebody that can say that they did it. Hey guys, 100% agreement. You got to be in the regular season for any sport to have played for that team and that league. Yeah, it has to be. I don't see how you can you say any different. To me, it's a little bit, just a tad misleading on that front. Hey, Greg's, any lineup changes for the Elks significant? No, not really. The unfortunate one on the D line is that still injured and still out, who I think they really miss, is Robert Nemdici, as well as, and he really has yet to play all year long, but Jamin Pelly. We had him in studio. Like, that's 2 big pieces on your D line now that are out. So a D line that hasn't got a ton of pressure all year, and now you're going to have even less. That's a concern. There's no doubt in my mind about that. So away we go. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we got a little hockey chatter for you on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
Albatross Roofing and Construction has immediate job openings for skilled flat roofers and sheet metal fabricators and installers. If you have SBS modified bitumen experience and CSTS certification, they want you. Get a great wage, benefits, steady work, and upward growth. Apply at roofingalbatross.ca today.
The cheesy burger pizza is back at Papa John's. See what happens when you ask for it? Boom! Finally, it's on the menu again for a limited time. Get all the items in the cheesy burger trio or choose between the large cheesy burger pizza for $18.99, cheesy burger papadilla for $9.99, and bacon cheesy burger Papa Bites for $8.99. All made with sizzling beef, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. That's right, burger sauce. Get it before it's gone. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some cheesy burger pizza at Papa John's.
Hey, it's Brad McCory here from St. Albert Dodge. I'm here to say you do not want to miss our final clear out of classic Ram 1500 trucks. It really is your last chance to drive a brand new Ram truck off the lot with 25% off. When these are gone, they're gone. Or how about a Jeep Wrangler with up to $7,500 in savings and 0% financing on every model? Come see how we earn our industry-leading 4.6 Google review rating. You're going to love how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
What's cracking at Cattail Crossing? Every Friday after 4 p.m., it's 9 and Dine Fridays. Includes golf for two with a power cart at Cattail Crossing and a $50 food voucher at Out of Bounds Restaurant. Only $119.99. Tea times can be booked at cattailcrossing.ca.
Mr. Rooter sends his daughter to university.
You're sure you don't want to go to plumbing school?
No, Dad. I want to be a civil engineer so I can plan the sewers.
What a dreamer. I have a surprise. Your dad, Mr. Rooter, is going to pay your tuition.
Oh my gosh, really?
Here you go.
Oh, coins. Why are they so dirty?
Well, it's every coin I ever snaked out of a toilet. You're welcome, sweetheart.
For an A-plus plumbing experience, call Mr. Rooter.
Jonathan and Murray are friends.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy. Except when they talk about which stadium is more fun in the summer.
Dude, Commonwealth has Elks Fan Park. Tailgating at its finest.
But it can't compare to the old ballpark in the River Valley. Riverhawks games are electric. But ask them who makes the best beef jerky in Alberta, and they'll tell you.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky.
It's the only thing everyone can agree on. So pick some up for your summer pregame snack.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky, because you don't win friends with salad.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Employee pricing is on now at Chevrolet. Right now, get up to $10,500 off select Silverado 1500 High Country Crew Cab models. With an available 6.2-liter V8 engine and standard Chevrolet safety assist, including forward collision alert, getting out of the city and having a nice, quiet day on the beach is easier than ever this season. So relaxing. Ask your Chevrolet advisor for details.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Japa is digging deep on their 50-year history of supporting Alberta's construction industry with their line of special edition blackout excavators. Visit japamachinery.com for all the details.
Look good, feel good, play good. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for listening to Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We're in the midst of what could be a 7-8 day stretch of 30+ degrees. I don't think that's ever happened in my lifetime. It's hot. What's funny though is by day 3 or 4, you're like, I'm kind of used to it. We're pretty good adapters here in central Alberta. I'll say that. Pretty good adapters. I like it. Let's get to Around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. Now, speaking of hot, I know many of you can't survive. You can't get going until you have your cup of coffee. And McDonald's, they've heard you. They've lowered all of their prices. You can get a coffee now for $1. Small, starting at $1. Only at McDonald's. Coffee drinkers rave about it. They love it. And it's cheaper than ever before. Right now at McDonald's, our next guest, I don't know if he's a coffee drinker or not. Might be. Former NHLer, ace analyst for the Washington Capitals, Alan May, joins us. Al, welcome back to the show, man. Are you a coffee drinker?
You know what? I started when I turned 50 years old, 50 and a half to be exact. I never had one cup or one sip of coffee prior to that. And I have one bulletproof coffee concoction every morning, and that's that.
Really?
For the day.
What got you to change and try it?
Well, you know what? It's all the old injuries and wanting to feel better. I just went down a rabbit hole.
Okay.
And it seemed like this was a remedy for some of the things that were bothering me. So it's worked.
Oh, nice.
And I've been preaching the gospel to my friends and family and slowly converting all these people over to do what I do in the morning.
So you have one cup of coffee. Is it straight black?
No, I've actually most people won't like the sound of it, but I put a tablespoon of MCT oil in it. I put a tablespoon of grass-fed butter in it, and I cheat a little bit and put a little bit of French vanilla stevia from Whole Foods, blend it, put it in the blender, and that's how I start every single day.
In the blender?
Oh. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Okay. Hey, if it's so 1 cup a day and that's it, you haven't graduated to multiples. You're just a 1 cup a day.
That's it. I just stick to that.
Okay.
And I hated it at the start, and now I think I've missed since I started in the last 9 years. I guess it is. I've maybe missed 20 days total.
Oh wow. Okay.
Of doing that. Yeah.
Nice. All right. I've never had a cup in my life, but I also was not a former player, so I don't have the aches and pains that you had. You played a little bit more. You had a little bit more robust physical lifestyle than I did, Al, in your 20s, and I had a lot of fun, but probably not as much physical fun as you had.
No, I was lucky. I got to do a lot of great things in my 20s, and I beat up myself probably more before I got in the NHL. Like I did in the NHL. Motorcycles and snowmobiles and all those things I was lucky enough to have and do when I was growing up. But I had my fair share of injuries off the ice.
Now, hey, let's get to some hockey talk. And my goodness, the Washington Capitals wheeling and dealing now. They went out, they get Pierre-Luc Dubois. And I actually like that trade for Washington. I think that's a good gamble. This guy's a 3-time 60-point player. He doesn't have to be a 100-point guy. Even if he's just an 80-point player, because I looked at his 5-on-5 numbers last year in LA, they were actually pretty similar. Just didn't get much power play time, but he's going to get that. So let's start with him because I think that's the biggest move for them. Is it too obvious to say he's playing with Ovi to start?
No, I think you're going to definitely see him. And, at first I thought he might play with Tom Wilson and Alexi Protas and have the largest line in the National Hockey League, but it makes sense. He's going to be the best top 6 player on the team. And, you can't teach big. He's an excellent skater, strong in the puck, can dish it. And, he had success early in the National Hockey League playing with the Russian player, Artemi Panarin. And on the other side, he had Cam Atkinson, and they feature player in this lineup will be something that really benefits him and benefits the Capitals. When you think of it, he's a top 6 player, and they started him on the 3rd line. I believe he was told he's going to play first line left wing or second line center, and they started no power play, 3rd line center. The love wasn't there right from day one with that coach, and it seemed like it just created some difficulty for the entire roster. And you know what? The Capitals are bringing him in to be a feature player. He's never going to get more ice time than he's going to get there. He'll penalty kill. He'll power play. He'll be on those first unit things, those offensive zone starts. So he's going to be a big part of the team, and he's going to feel the love. So I think, every player you handle differently. Some guys you got to show the love. Other guys you got to crack the whip. And I think he's the type of player, from everything I've heard with all the different people I've talked to, is he needs to feel the love. And I got no problem with treating every player differently.
They also acquire Andrew Mangiapane, who's the final year of his deal. He'll be in a little bit of a show-me contract. Then they bring in a guy I really like him, Brandon Duhaime. Like, excellent depth forward, brings some physicality to their team. What's your expectations for Mangiapane? Like the 35-goal season he had, Al, like, to me, I think that was his career best. I don't expect him to be that guy anymore, but where do you see him fitting in? What's their expectations for him?
Oh, I think the biggest thing is anytime you watch Mangiapane play, since I've noticed him in the National Hockey League, I watch pretty much every Oilers game if it's not overlapping my game, and I love to watch the Flames play as well. And maybe not so much. I don't know who their new broadcaster is going to be, but I love the call of those games. But I always noticed that Mangiapane was an everyday player, a guy that earned his dollars every night. And I don't care, and I've said it to you before, whether you're minimum wage or max contract, I want you to earn your money every night. And just because you get paid one or the other, I just want you to earn your money. I want you to be a guy that's dependable. And I think Mangiapane's that guy. Excellent speed, skates in straight lines. He's noticeable every night. And I don't ever expect him to hit the 30s again. And, so many players have these freak years where they put up these incredible numbers, and they'll never be equaled again. And hopefully they can cash out on those seasons.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to be a guy that plays consistently in the middle six, I should say. He's going to play left wing and right wing. He'll probably be penalty killing. There's not a whole lot of ice time on the power play that goes around on the Capitals the way it's been over the course of the last 17, 18 years. Mm-hmm. So I don't expect a lot of love out there right now. But I expect him to be a guy. He'll be 20 to 25 goals with the Capitals. And he's going to go into the profile of the way they want to play, and it's a much better roster than they were last year. He's a legit guy that has a touch. But once again, I think he's going to be 20, 25 goals, and he's going to be a very important part of the team. And from there, I'd expect him to sign a nice contract.
Alan May joins us, a longtime analyst for the Washington Capitals. On the back end, they bring in Matt Roy from LA as a free agent, and then they make the trade Jacob Chychrun for Nick Jensen. A very different style defender. Jensen's definitely kind of more of a pure defender, whereas Chychrun's definitely got more offensive upside, but also a big physical guy. If you look at Carlson and Roy and Chychrun, is it Farave? Is he the other guy you view as their top four? Who do you think is going to be their top four to start?
Well, you know what? There's still a lot of things that have to shake out, and it looks like they're getting more money at their disposal all the time. So this team could still change a little bit, but you just know John Carlson's the A1, and it'll be Chychrun will be, a player in waiting. He's excellent on the power play, can play the game. As long as he stays healthy, he's going to be a real important part of this team. But the great thing about adding these two players, and Roy and Chychrun, is now you can slot all these players down. And I felt there was too many players of the same ilk playing too far ahead in the lineup. And even Nick Jensen, I thought he's the third pair guy. They used him second pair all last season. Rasmus Sandin, I don't know where he's going to fit in with all of this, but, it's going to be interesting. But at least now you can push guys down the lineup. And in my opinion, you'd be better served with Faravari on your third pair, because I think he's in over his head. He's in over his head on, so many minutes playing with John Carlson. He hasn't really adapted or improved as much as he should over the course of time. And I think it's just because he was playing too many times on that first pair unit, and he's not a first pair guy. So, as it shakes out, we'll see how the pairs go, the chemistry with the players, but it usually shakes itself out and won't necessarily be in preseason, because they should pay the fans to go to preseason games with how awful they are. And whereas when I played, they should have charged triple because the amount of entertainment and action that was happening in those games. But it's going to be an interesting first 10 games of the season as they get all those pairings figured out. But it's a better problem now than they had last year, wondering who's going to be able to stop anyone defensively. And last year, that was the biggest problem with the Capitals. In the games they lost, they got thumped. They had that horrible goal differential. When they won tight. When they lost big. So I expect that to be drastically different this season.
They also, you know what, man, they just kept making moves everywhere. They bring in Logan Thompson. Now, Charlie Lindgren had a fantastic season. And I credit Kevin Woodley. 2 years ago, Kevin Woodley told us, hey, here's the guy to watch who's going to be getting better. And then Charlie Lindgren did that. 2 years ago. He played again very well last year. Their combined goaltending contracts are $1.86 million this year. It's the best value duo in the NHL. Now, they're both UFAs. They both need contracts at the end of the season. But for this year, how close of a split do you think this is? Or is Charlie Lindgren going to be more of the one guy?
I think it's going to be a 50-50 split, and you've got to make sure that you get Logan Thompson in the pipes. He's got excellent career stats. Memory serves me correct, 27 wins last year.
Yep.
Vegas, very good defensive team, the bigger team that can block players out. But Logan Thompson's an excellent goaltender. I think they're going to be 50-50, and whoever is the better guy and the more consistent guy going down the stretch, that will be the starter. And, it's going to be open audition. And I'm always wary about, Charlie Lindgren came out of nowhere, basically. And a lot of people had a good reading on him. And, he's just always in the wrong place at the wrong time. And he finally got to the right place at the right time in Washington. But, beware of when your backup becomes your starter. And so he's going to have to prove that he can do it. And the way he plays, I'm always worried with how aggressive he is. That he's one split save or one glove hand away from injury, and then it's going to be all downhill. So hopefully they can both stay healthy and have a great season behind this. It's a much better roster. I didn't have them making the playoffs going into this season. Now I definitely have them fighting, for the Metro standings. I'd say they're probably a 2-3 team in the Metro. And with the way they were coached last year, I felt at times that the majority of the time they played not to lose. I think now they can open it up and play to win. And they have players that understand that they have to play defensively. They're going to have to be tougher on the puck. You're going to have Brandon Duhaime will be an upgrade over Beck Malenstein, who is a very serviceable player.
Yeah.
But they needed some grit and some snarl, and Duhaime has that. And they're going to get Radish in there. He'll probably play in the fourth line with Dowd and Duhaime. And I'd expect that line to be very important. As every line that Nick Dowd's been on since he's been there, every fourth line has been a pretty respectable unit that's done a lot of positive things. I think Taylor Radish, if he can get back to that 15-20 goal area, that will be awesome. And that'll be a very big, hard skating, aggressive line. All three players 6'2" and above. So that is something that will really bolster the Capitals going down the stretch as well.
And then they have the Caps are trying to retool here on the fly, not going a full rebuild because that can take forever and doesn't guarantee success. And they got two young guys in Connor McMichael and Hendrix Lapierre. What do you make of those two and where they're at?
Well, Hendrix Lapierre, to me, he'll be the third line center. And what we saw out of him last year when he came up, he was spectacular. He was the fastest player on the team. He was able to hide the defensive deficiencies of some of his line mates last season, a slower team. And then he goes to the AHL, was the most valuable player in the playoffs. He's ready to play. He's put on about 20 pounds since he was drafted, and he looks incredible. The work ethic, I think the knowledge and the confidence that comes with being the best player in the American League playoffs and winning another championship the way he did has him in the right mental state of mind of how hockey needs to be played. So he'll take that third line pivot. And then probably the second line left wing will be Connor McMichael, who will also be a featured penalty killer next season. So that'll balance out moving him to the wing. And he's going to have good line mates. He's probably going to play with Strome and Tom Wilson to start the season. And, he can concentrate more on creating some offense. And, I felt at times last year with Connor, he's not a disher. He's not really a puck mover. He's kind of a gritty guy that drives to the net. He's always thinking shot. And I may be better served on the wing, but if there's injuries, he pops into the middle and they know that they can trust him because he is another player that learned a lot 2 years ago in the American Hockey League. They played like 26 playoff games and he was a feature player there. And he started to figure out how to be tough on the puck, how to work hard every game, sacrificing the body, whether it's block shots, taking hits, making hits to get plays done. And he's had a lot of growth in his game. And I didn't think he was going to be able to show us that. And he really persevered last year, and I thought he had an excellent season. I expect him to be even better this year, but I'd expect it would be on the left wing.
Awesome stuff, Al. It's always great to talk to you. We appreciate it. Enjoy the summer. And, hey, man, the NHL seems like it's right around the corner. We're almost into August.
All right, take care and don't get sunburnt this week.
Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, lots of hats and suntan lotion for sure. That's Alan May, longtime analyst of the Washington Capitals. Lots of changes. Hey, boys, I'll tell you right now, Al May is going to change his opinion on Dubois within 3 months, husband of the OT MILF. So there you go. Now, there's a lot of people are big believers in him. We'll see. Like this guy, he has no excuses if he doesn't have success there. I think that's totally fair. When we come back, we've talked about the love of the game, the love of the sport, the passion of the sport. We'll take you that even deeper next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The cheesy burger pizza is back at Papa John's. See what happens when you ask for it? Boom! Finally, it's on the menu again for a limited time. Get all the items in the cheesy burger trio or choose between the large cheesy burger pizza for $18.99, cheesy burger papadilla for $9.99, and bacon cheesy burger papa bites for $8.99. All made with sizzling beef, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. That's right, burger sauce. Get it before it's gone. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some cheesy burger pizza at Papa John's.
Move Water is your one-stop shop for all things water. From freshwater to wastewater, we've got the pumps and solutions to keep your water moving where it matters most.
Move Water, your water solution experts.
Visit movewater.ca today.
You don't work for GMC, but it's kind of like you do because you pay what we pay. GMC employee pricing is on now on all 2024 GMC Sierra half tons and Hummers. Oh, but at Wolf GMC Buick, it's even better. Get GMC employee pricing on every in-stock 2024 GMC. If it's new and a 2024 and it has that beautiful GMC logo on it, then it's GMC employee priced. Pay what we pay, but only until July 25th. Get into Wolf GMC Buick now and see the over 200 GMCs in stock.
Introducing the Female Super League. Female hockey is on the rise with more women playing the game than ever. Join us as we pave the way for the future of women's hockey. The FSL is more than a game. It's a movement and an experience for the motivated female athlete. Teams will compete in a showcase-style format featuring consistent interprovincial competition. Come be part of the journey as the 2024-25 season unveils a 12U division, as well as the launch of a groundbreaking progressive body-checking 14U division. For more information, visit femalesuperleague.com.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
Some people see their RV as a way to travel the countryside and explore the great outdoors. For others, it's more like a summer cottage. Sure, it's got wheels, but that doesn't mean that you have to roll it around all the time. And I know someone who uses his RV exactly like this. It's Rick Showers from No Bull RV. Hey, Rick, when was the last time you hooked up your trailer and took it somewhere?
Been years, Bob.
You just leave it in one place?
Well, you have to see our campsite. It's near Seba Beach. There's lots of privacy. It's a heavily wooded area, but very close to the lake, with full water and electrical hookup. So my wife, Deanna, and I enjoy cottage life with all its beauty and all the comforts of home.
And the RV you use as a cottage, did you buy it new?
Bob, what are you, nuts? I can happily find you an RV as nice as mine. Got dozens of them on the lot right now. And Deanna and I are living proof that you don't have to pay new RV prices to live the dream.
And that's No Bull.
NoBullRV.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by AccuSteel Heavy Haul Trailers. Industry leaders in engineered heavy haul trailer frame repairs, retrofits, and rebuilds. Trust the experts at AccuSteel Heavy Haul Trailers. Learn more at AccuSteel.ca.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$3:49. Welcome back. Pause of Friday on Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube and Facebook. How you doing? Jason Gregor, Declan Kruger with you. And you know what? Sports is, you got to put in a lot of time, a lot of effort. Some sports, you got to put in a lot of money. Specifically, if you are in auto racing, it is a sport where you have to literally put your money where your mouth is. If you want to be competitive, that's just how it is in auto racing. And our next guest, of course, has been driving in the NASCAR Canada Series since 2012. I'll be in Saskatoon this coming weekend. Then they're here in Wetaskiwin next weekend. The NASCAR's Pinty Series. Larry Jackson joins us. Larry, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Thanks for having me. Doing well.
Well, Larry, we appreciate you coming on because, I always like different stories. First of all, so give us do you have to do advanced scouting to ensure that you're getting the right spotter in Livingston? Like, do you got to get a special bottle of tequila to ensure that he's going to do a good job? How's that work?
I think so. Definitely not a cheap bottle for sure. He's actually, I had him spot for me many years ago, probably 10 years ago. He was pretty awesome. He's don't want to tell him to his face, but he's pretty good at what he does.
Yeah. So for our audience out there, what makes a good spotter in NASCAR?
You need somebody that's raced before, somebody with quick reaction time, can predict accidents that I can't see out front, and then can judge where my car is accordingly on the racetrack. So, inside, outside, when the guy's on my quarter panel and just not there, and kind of hype me up when I need to be hyped up, and talk down when I get a little excited. So, they definitely take care of me the whole time.
How is your persona as a driver? Are you fairly calm? Are you excitable? How are you on race day?
I'm usually very, very calm. You can rough me up pretty good, and I stay pretty chill. Firefighter by day, so I like a lot of action, a lot of thrilling stuff. So I don't seem to get excited too often, and I think that works at work as well. I've been told before that I'm pretty calm in most situations.
So, Larry, have you been like a motorhead from a young age? Have you always been into racing?
I guess so. I loved it when I was 16 years old. My father bought me a cheap old car, and he was a truck driver by trade, so I drive in his yard and stuff, and then snowplowed as a young kid as well before I got my license, and I just loved driving. And then I guess I was fairly good at it when I first started. I won a lot of races when I was younger. Not so much nowadays.
I know you and I were talking yesterday to head this up. It's, like it is really it's a passion of yours to drive, right? Like it's expensive. And, we were talking about just the price of tires and the price of fuel and everything that's combined with it. And Colin was on the show yesterday talking about how, they're having some meetings here that they're looking at, there's got to be a way to try to make it more affordable for guys. Cause you can't just, Colin was saying, well, it costs about 35 grand to get on the racetrack. And even if you win, you're not breaking even for that weekend.
Correct. It's all sponsor driven and some really rich friends. For us, our budget's usually 10 to 15,000 per race. For the higher end teams, they're definitely 25 to 35,000 per race. And we have a 14 race schedule. It adds up pretty quickly. The faster you want to go, the more money you're going to spend. A lot of guys have full-time employees. Just their rigs rolling down the highway are $1 million rigs. So it's pretty awesome to be hanging around these guys, and we're spoiled with a couple of good little sponsors. So, yeah.
So how much of how much are you of a salesman then, as much of a driver to get your sponsors?
Luckily, I have some great volunteer friends that take care of my marketing and take care of my sponsorship hunting, and they're really good at what they do. And it's tough. A lot of doors are, as you know, are a lot of broken promises, I guess you could say. Yeah.
Larry Jackson joins us, of course, heading into Saskatoon. Then you'll be into Wetaskiwin. The race circuit is there? Do you have a track you prefer, a course style that you like to race better?
Well, I was growing up, I was like an oval expert here in Ontario, Canada. I actually drove through northern United States as well, all through Pennsylvania and New York State, and won many, many, many races. And now I got to the Pinty Series, or the NASCAR Canadian Series, to drive road courses. And I quite enjoyed it. I wish we were at the Toronto Indy this weekend. A lot of street racing. I really enjoy CTMP, which is the old Mossport, the road course. And I just love a challenging and shifting. And,
yeah,
we've done it for so long. The oval tracks are fairly easy, come pretty naturally. And then for me, it's the challenging road courses that I love now.
Well, and the oval, it's a lot of the same, right? Like you're going the same direction and everything. Obviously you got to be alert at all times, but as you mentioned, you're not changing directions. You're only turning one way, right? Like it's easier is probably the wrong word, because I've never done it. Like I did it in a fun race once, but yes. I would look at an oval at times. Is it maybe harder to keep your concentration because you can get lulled into it not being a change at all?
I think so. Oval racing, you got to hit your marks within inches. It's so you got to be so precise nowadays. And the setups of these race cars, you have to be exact every corner, getting on the brakes at the exact same time, 300 laps on the gas exactly without spinning the tires and burning that right rear off before the guys around you. You want to take care of that car a little bit better than most, right? And that's usually the guy that comes out on top.
So if if I asked Larry Jackson's a young age and someone came to you, had all the money, and say, you know what, any racing you could do, you can do. Is there one you'd like? Would it be NASCAR? Would it be open? What would you want to do?
I've always been a NASCAR guy. Yeah, definitely. NASCAR Cup Series would have been in my future many, many moons ago. I just knew at a young age that it wasn't reachable for this guy. So
just because of the cost or because of the skill level?
And cost. I think I had the skill level back in my late teens, early 20s. I was fairly decent. And it just got to the point where my father was a truck driver. We worked, and then that's why I'm a hands-on guy. I build all my own stuff. I knew that the cost is really tough. So I learned how to do everything, and I do it myself. So
you build, like, if your car, you're working on your car in the off season yourself?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I can weld the chassis up. I used to build motors, not very good, but now we send motors down to North Carolina to get rebuilt because they got heavy horsepower to them, but you need a rear end built. I'll build a rear end. I'll build it all, whatever needs to be done. I can do it. So, you have to save $1 nowadays.
So now what about a type of car just on the road? Like, do you have a car that, like, are you a motorhead guy? Do you have lots of cars?
I have lots of race cars. I drive a Duramax diesel dually around. That's my daily driver, my hauler.
You're not hitting the corners really quick in that one.
I drive like an old man. The cost of fuel nowadays. So every dollar I can save on the street, I can spend on my babies on the racetrack. So
now, if you had a dream car to purchase, like, that's street legal, what would you want?
Cobra.
Oh, any year or vintage?
Yeah, vintage Cobra. Yeah. Just something like just big block and lightweight and just loud.
The loud factor. Now, give me a kind of a scouting report on going into to Saskatoon this weekend. I know you mentioned that you and I were talking where you're about a tenth slower, which is nothing, but it's a lot when you consider racing. I try to explain to people, Usain Bolt's the fastest man in the world, 100 meter. He might beat a guy by 2 100s, but that's like 3 or 4 steps, right? Like, so when you're a tenth slower, where are you losing it? Is it just in horsepower?
The combination of a little bit of horsepower, a little bit of cornering speed. The guys do a lot of testing nowadays, and they're just up on technologies. They've hired engineers for the Canadian series here, and I'm definitely lacking a little bit. We don't test just due to cost, but we test on race days, and we try some new setups often, and we try and sneak around and see what the other teams are doing, just so we could learn by just looking at other cars, but. It's tough, and like you said, we're only like a tenth or 2 off, and it's like 2 to 3 feet a straightaway times 300, which would put us down a little bit, but we're there and we're trying.
Do you race differently when you know that the other guys are faster? Do you have to be more strategic, or do you have to be more of a risk taker, or you can't really be a risk taker unless you want to crash?
Correct. I know I'm not going to be running up in the top 3 to 5 guys, so I run a little more conservative. I take care of my tires, I take care of my car, and then we get through the race, and then we can save the car for the next race and just continue on building this team that we've built over the last 12 years. Built it in a pretty successful little team, but it still takes mega dollars to compete with the top elite teams. We'll get them one day. We're getting there slowly.
Yeah. Now, Larry Jackson joins us. Of course, he's in town for the NASCAR Pinty Series next weekend here in Wetaskiwin, and this weekend in Saskatoon on the West Tour. And there's fewer racers now than ever, Larry. And I know that cost has become a factor. And Colin was telling me that there's like an ownership group of all these guys that are getting together. What has to happen to change to have more people racing it and to have it maybe be more competitive?
Well, simple thing is cost. We got to get the travel down. We got to get the price of tires, price of motors. Like a motor nowadays, I think it's close to $65,000. A tire is $550. We go through like 12 every race. It's just adds up quickly. And tires are speed. As soon as you put 4 new ones on, you're 4/10 faster. If you, So we got to get back down to either using less tires per race, reduce testing, keep guys from testing, and then get our travels, maybe get together as a group and buy flights in groups and reduce tires and buy fuel and parts and motors and stuff, maybe in a buyer's group or something. So whereas it's brand new, we're going to look at something, and we got to do something because we need to get this sport a little healthier. It's been pretty healthy the last few years, but it's tough to wade through this economy right now.
Oh, I would think so. And you mentioned the sponsors. That's obviously, you have to rely on your sponsors, but your sponsors at the end of the day, there's a love of the game and everything. And obviously, the races are televised and that's great, but there's still, there has to be more to maintain the sponsorship long-term, correct?
Yeah. We do a lot of activation, a lot of car shows, we had 460 people at the CTMP race last year, big catered event put on by my sponsor, O'Neill Electric. They did a great job and just brought 460 new fans to the event and made them NASCAR fans. And that's the way the owner, Mike O'Neill, could pay back, his employees, give them something back. And activation with the cars and everything, it worked out really well. Kids loved it.
Larry, thanks so much for joining us. Safe travels to Saskatoon and Wetaskiwin, and best of luck the rest of the way. Really appreciate your time.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
There you go. That's Larry Jackson joining us. And I got to first time meeting Larry yesterday when we talked to, Colin had hooked it up with us. And I loved his honesty about where he's at. And you know what? Hey, it was really competitive for a long time. And right now it just comes down to cost and how can they do it? But $550 a tire. You're going through 12 a race. Just do the math right there, right? Just on tires every race. So that guarantees you nothing. And I like when Colin outlined what it costs to enter the race, and then you barely have a chance of even breaking even. So that's obviously a challenge for sure. 4:02 coming up in the final 2 hours of the Positive Friday edition. We have LT will join us. Spec, we got 5 questions. Lots of texts coming through. We'll update you. Declan Kruger here at the Sports 1440 update. Canadians well represented at the Open Championship. MLB is back and more. Here's a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. And hey, the watermelon explosion is here. When it's this hot out, you need to be cool. Stay cool. Download the Boosters Reward app and order yours today only at Booster Juice.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update, we start in the CFL. Edmonton Elks in action, set to kick off in just under an hour's time against the Ottawa Redblacks out in Ottawa. Jarius Jackson will be serving his first game for the Edmonton Elks as the interim head coach. It's one of 2 games in the CFL today as part of a Friday Night Football doubleheader. The other game will see Winnipeg in Saskatchewan at 7:30 our time. Edmonton Riverhawks back from the All-Star break as they take on the Springfield Drifters in the first of a 3-game series down at Remax Field. Opening pitch for this one, 7:05 p.m. Open Championship continuing to roll on. Shane Lowry leading the way at 7 under. Justin Rose and Daniel Brown tied for second at 5 under par through 2 days. The highest ranked Canadian right now is Corey Connors at 1 under, who is in a tie for 7th. Mackenzie Hughes, the other Canadian to make the cut at 1 over par, tied for 13th. Adam Hadwin and Nick Taylor not making the cut at this year's Open Championship. One final tip from earlier today in the MLB was the Diamondbacks over the Cubs 5-2. And a little later on today, we'll see the Phillies and Pirates in about 35 minutes time. Reds and Nationals, Rays and Yankees, and the Detroit Tigers in Toronto to take on the Blue Jays. 5:07 first pitch for that one, and it will be Chris Bassett on the mound. Veteran Canadian Joey Votto is inching towards making his debut for the Blue Jays. The 40-year-old native of Toronto, who's missed the entire season with an ankle injury in spring training, is slated to play his first game with Buffalo's AAA Bisons tonight. That one will take place in about an hour's time. The Blue Jays have also activated right-handed relief pitcher Yimi Garcia from the 15-day IL and recalled right-handed reliever Eric Swanson from the Bisons earlier today. One other piece of news in the sporting world, the Baltimore Ravens have signed former 2-time Pro Bowler Eddie Jackson to a 1-year deal. Jackson spent the entirety of his career up to this point with the Chicago Bears. In hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Lowetide to talk Edmonton Oilers, and we'll ask 5 questions. I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
1440, Stingray Radio Station. CHJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
The summer road lays ahead. Your potential destinations are endless. Volvo Cars Edmonton gives you choice to match. Right now, lease a 2024 Volvo XC90 from 0% for qualifying loyal customers. Or save $7,000 on all new 2024 XC60 recharge plug-in hybrid models. All demo vehicles come with a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty. No matter what you decide this summer will become, your first choice is Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Rule number 62. Never miss a free pancake breakfast. It's unheard of and frankly a little upsetting. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
For over 65 years, Denham Ford has delivered the customer service and value that keeps Albertans moving. And nothing moves Albertans better than Canada's best-selling truck, the Ford F-150. Here now with rates as low as 0% or savings up to $17,000. That's the value you've come to expect from where cars always cost less. 0% or $17,000 off F-150s. Only at Denham Ford in Wetaskiwin or at denhamford.ca.
I take possession of my commercial space in 3 months. I need lighting. I need a fire alarm. I need data. I need a generator. I need panels.
Sounds like for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Projects team reporting. We design, build, and construct all the electrical systems for your project.
Pause.
Need everything to work right? Get the Action Electrical project team on your site.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Hey, welcome.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is still the #1 company for families who don't want to see dad in his underwear. Come on, we warned you about a heat wave a while ago, and lo and behold, here we are. So call Legacy now before the heat wave convinces dad to cool down in a kiddie pool in your front yard. Yeah, we've still got air conditioners in stock, and yes, you won't have payments or interest for 1 year. Keeping dad from bathing in public during a heat wave. That's how you save your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass. Your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
He's Alberta's sports authority and lead touchdown winner of his family's backyard flag football games. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.409. Welcome back, Jason Gregor. Declan Kruger with you on a positive Friday. The Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the lovely province of Alberta through PlayAlberta.ca. And hey, $65 million tonight for Max Million. Get it in for Lotto Max. Ooh, good luck. I hope you win. Just remember the rule. Honor system, of course. Any of our Sports 1440 listeners win, got to have somewhat of a party and invite us. I think it's fair trade. You win 65 mil, I'll tell you, if I win 65 mil, put on a big party. Oh, maybe a few of them. No question. Be a lot of fun. do like a monthly one. How could you not? Be great. A lot of texts flying in our EUL inbox, 833-401-1440. The new website that puts the power in your hands with 24/7 ordering and shipping within Edmonton and across Alberta. You can score an account today at ewel.ca. Hey, boys, I'm sorry, but Alan May thinks the Caps are going to be a 2-3 team in the Metro. I'd like to have what he's smoking from Fleets. Well, it's interesting, Fleets, when you look at the Capitals and you look at their team last year, and I get that their 4 goals against was awful. But if you look, like when they lost a game, they decided, guess what? We're going to lose like 6-1. And then they won a lot of 1-goal games. And they got really good goaltending. But if you look at their team on paper, they've actually improved quite a bit. And like New Jersey, they've improved. But Washington was ahead of New Jersey last year. The Rangers, I think, are still good. Carolina, I think they're pretty good. But Carolina's lost a lot. Like Carolina, to me, I'm interested how much it will. I expect them to still be a playoff team. But Washington, to me, is they're kind of the wild card. Are they going to revert? Because they had a that's the thing. Like they lost games lots of times because their offense was brutal. So they went out and I think I'm in the minority when I think Dubois is going to be better than a lot of people think. I don't think he's going to be dominant by any stretch, but I've said it. If Pierre-Luc Dubois scores 75 points next year, I'm not going to really be that shocked because he's going to get way more power play time and he's going to get a consistent role in the top 6. He didn't really get either in LA. Now, did he deserve it? Fair point. So we'll see. Hey, Greg's really happy you and everyone at 1440 are able to keep broadcasting in the Edmonton area. I love it. I know that's a wave of the future, but I hope 1440 is able to hang on for old guys like me from old school hockey, Doug. Well, Doug, we're not going anywhere. We actually have plans. We're expanding. We're doing more. This community, when it's run properly, it works very well. You have to have good partners. I think our partners realize that we have a great audience with loyalty. And our audience numbers has grown significantly here in the last bit. Hey, it helps when the Oilers are playing well. No question in my mind. And the excitement level right now in Edmonton is higher than I ever recall in any offseason. Like the Oilers just lost the Stanley Cup final. But if you look at the moves they've made since, there's a lot of people that feel their team's stronger. Now, that doesn't guarantee you a chance in the Stanley Cup final. If there was a guarantee, there'd be lots of teams punch their ticket there. Ask Boston from a few years ago. Right? The regular season is one thing. Playoffs, it's everybody starts even there out of those 16 teams. But Edmonton's a good team. They've got lots of experience now in the postseason. They've got lots of top-end skill. They have veteran leadership. They got a good mix of speed. I think they, Chris Knobloch and Paul Coffey. Like, to me, the biggest... I will say this. To me, the biggest question mark I have right now about the Oilers, or concern maybe better than question mark, is will Paul Coffey return as the coach on the blue line? I think Paul Coffey added much more than anybody expected he would. Not only in how he approached the players, he challenged them in a very respectful way. We had Vinny Desharnais, we had Ekholm, we had Ceci, all of them on the show talking about how Coffey's, he would challenge you, but he did so in a way to not degrade you. Not saying Dave Manson never did by any stretch, but just he had a way to challenge you, but also build your confidence at the same time. Hey, guys, we're going to make plays. You're all capable of making plays. Now, if you don't want to make plays, I'll find someone else. Now, if you're a player in the NHL and you're amongst the best of the best, and you have a coach that says, I don't want you to just flip the puck out. I want you to make plays. I think you're capable of making plays. That's a confidence boost. Now, it's up to you to do it. Right? And it doesn't mean that, they're all great at moving the puck all the time, but at least you have a coach that's willing to say, hey, I want you to do that rather than just flip it out. And he challenged some guys at times that I think they're going to be better off because of it. And to me, like the last time when I spoke to Paul, He was actually driving back to Ontario with his son. And, he admitted that, it was a long season. Like that's the first time for him, that you'd been in the NHL for how many years? Right? As far as, you're on the bench, you're traveling, doing everything. Like it's draining. And it's emotionally draining when your team loses, no question. But he had a lot of fun. And I know this for a fact, having spoke to the players, that all of them in their exit meetings said they wanted Coffey to come back. So I think here's what happens. The season ends. You're pretty burnt out. You're wiped out. Now it's been coming up on a month since the season ended. And you know what? You start to kind of get your energy back. And then I'm sure Paul Coffey looks and, he sees the signings and he sees the acquisitions and he's like, whew, this team's pretty good. You got guys who want him back. Like, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Matthias Ekholm and Bouchard and Nurse are sending him texts, hey, coach, you coming back? Why wouldn't you be? So I think that to me is the bigger. I know that like the GM, but I'm talking because the GM isn't going to impact the day-to-day results of the Oilers more than Paul Coffey would as a coach right away. Like, look at their lineup. The GM doesn't have to change a whole bunch. So I think Coffey, of course they can survive without him, but I think he was an integral part of that team's success last year. And I think it would be good if he comes back. Having not spoke to him since, my guess today is I think he'll lean to coming back. There's lots of reasons to be playing. Hey, boys, we're just east of Lloydminster, but thanks to iHeartRadio player, that segment with Larry came through crystal clear. Awesome job, Gregor. From Ewan. Hey, there you go, man. Thanks. Ewan, from Colin, excuse me. That's appreciate you listening. Gotta love the app. It's awesome. Get you there on the way to Saskatoon. I love it. Hey, boys, I'm on the 1440 app, munching dad all day. Hopefully help the airway signal for the radio. Maybe keep it up. I love the sports talk crew from Titan. Hey, it's fantastic, man. That's the wonders of technology now. Right? It's great. You can, you get outside the radio frequency. You got the app. Boom. Especially for people who are driving, you're going road trips, right? Like, who wants to listen to Calgary sports radio? Unless you're a Calgary fan. Probably don't want to. So now you're driving down the road. Many of you are traveling lots. Maybe we get people who text us from their holidays. Like, hey, I'm on the beach, man. I'm just relaxing. This is great. Like, I love that passion. Honestly, to me, that's one of the biggest compliments you can get is someone that when they take you on their holidays, not physically, of course, because let's be honest, they don't want us on their holidays, but in the downtime, they just lay on the beach relaxing. They want to know what's going on. Fantastic. Hey, Greg, if someone did win the Lotto Max, what kind of donation would be required to co-host an hour with you? Filthy from Calgary. Hey, you know me, for charity. I think we could make a good fair agreement on that. I'd have no problem. I think if you're winning the max mill, now I wouldn't ask for $1 million. That might be a little excessive, but probably come up with a good number. I think we could make it worth your while. How about that? I'd be all over it for sure. Hey guys, that app is unreal. I actually listened from Italy in April. It was amazing from Paul. That is outstanding, my man. It's great. Hey, Greg's, what about the Elks tonight? Realistically, if they don't win, does Trey Ford start against Hamilton? Mike, it's a great question. I don't see how you couldn't. And again, if you tell me that it's like, yeah, but they were close and they lost by this. Well, are we playing horseshoes? Are they suddenly in the hand grenade league? No, they're in the CFL league where wins are what matters. You don't get bonus points. It's not like you get, well, we didn't get the 2 points, but we got half a point because we lost in the last play of the game. No, you get none. You have no points. And you would say, you were 0-8 before Trey Ford started. Then you were 4-6. And now you'd be 0-6 if they lose tonight. 0-14 or a guy who was 4-6. And you're going to tell me that Bethel Thompson, yeah, he's a veteran. Maybe he's a better thrower. I don't care. I don't care because the results are he's not winning. Now, why aren't they winning? Is it because he's a pure pocket quarterback and the opposing defense doesn't have to worry about the run game in any form of a running back or a quarterback? That would have to be part of the equation. It would have to be. I don't see how else you could rationally tell your team, unless you say, guess what? Losing close is acceptable for us. Right? Losing close is acceptable for us. That to me would be the message. If they lose tonight, there is no reason not to start Trey Ford. I don't care if, and I'm not even saying that Bethel Thompson's is the answer. All I'm saying is when Trey Ford quarterbacks the team, they have a much better chance right now, a 400% better chance of winning games. Just based on the numbers. And the actual yards in total offense for 10 games for Trey Ford, the average total offense yards per game, do you know what it was for Trey Ford last year? How about 357? This year, it is 366. So the total offensive yards are basically the same. Yet, over. Last year, 4-6. Trey Ford, 12 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Bethel Thompson, 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions in half the games. So more turnovers. And is the defense have to play better? 100%. I understand all of that. But maybe if you're running the ball and you're on the field more, now your defense is getting rest. Could that potentially play a factor? I'd have to look at all things. But they lose tonight, no question in my mind. I would look at a change. Because what are you going to do on defense? Who can you change? Their best defensive guys are hurt on the D-line. So are you going to wait and wait and wait? Or are you going to say, we got to try to win a game? Because unless Hamilton wins this weekend, you could have 2 offers. And God, the last thing the Elks would need. Because here's the other thing from a business standpoint. The fans, a lot of them want Trey Ford. He's entertaining. At least the team they've had a better chance to win. So you can throw all there. I don't even know what the value is of that number, but I think there's a big value in giving your fans a reason to believe. So we'll come back. Lowetide. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Jays are coming back. We heard the scouting report on Järventie earlier from AJ Jakubek. We'll get to all of that and more on a busy, positive Friday edition of the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The cheesy burger pizza is back at Papa John's. See what happens when you ask for it? Boom! Finally, it's on the menu again for a limited time. Get all the items in the cheesy burger trio or choose between the large cheesy burger pizza for $18.99, cheesy burger papadilla for $9.99, and bacon cheesy burger papa bites for $8.99. All made with sizzling beef, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. That's right, burger sauce. Get it before it's gone. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some cheesy burger pizza at Papa John's.
What a season, what a ride. Congratulations on an incredible season from GS Construction. Whether you're a laborer, pipe layer, or pipe layer's helper, lead hand, operator, top man or woman, or water and sewer foreman, GS Construction has room for you on their team. GS Construction, celebrating 50 years of laying the groundwork of Edmonton and communities throughout Alberta. Let's get to work. Get started today at gsconstruction.ca.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches. We provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact Ted Nakamura at 780-940-0880 or visit silentrides.ca.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Hey, Elks fans.
Jackpot! Touchdown!
Get on the Elks Party Bus for every home game at On the Rocks for only $35.
Included is a game ticket, round-trip transportation, and a prepaid Coors Light.
Reserve your spot now at ontherocks.com.
And OTR is your go-to for every Euro Cup game.
With $5.25 Heineken.
Their first major trophy.
It's the ultimate football experience.
Canadian or European.
Only at On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave and 118th.
At Toyota, we understand life's full of winning moments, like winning shotgun in an epic game of rock, paper, scissors. Boom. Paper covers rock, Carl. And we design our award-winning vehicles with your needs in mind, giving you a front row seat to all life's victories. Except you, Carl. You're in the back. It's time for everyday wins. It's time to Toyota. Lease a 2024 Tundra 4x4 double cab SR5 from $159 weekly for 60 months at 5.99% with $6,599 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the word. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Can Torque. We are excited to announce that we now have machining capacity in-house. Quicker turnarounds, improved quality control, and ultimate flexibility. Call 780-436-2000 or email colin@cantorque.com to find out more.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$4:28 on a lovely positive Friday. How are you? Jason Gregor, Declan Kruger, as we get go in the room now, brought to you by Action Electrical. Take action with your savings. Right now on if you need solar for either your home or your commercial building, they can help you set it up for either. ActionElectrical.net. As we welcome the host of The Lowdown, Alan Mitchell, to the show. Al, you see the green and gold into Ottawa tonight. I don't know if they can lose a game in the same fashion that they did. I don't even know if they can be as creative in how they lose again. But I'll say this, if their defense can't get any sort of pressure, they're probably going to lose again.
Yeah, it's always, no matter what league it is, it's along the lines, and they everybody talks about the kick out of bounds, which was just a ghastly thing. I've been complaining about the quarterback draw in the series before. They ended up getting a PI call, so it saved them there. But they couldn't play defense in the third quarter. They couldn't get any offense in the fourth quarter. Sometimes when a coaching change occurs, there's a bounce, and maybe that occurs. It's a short week, so they haven't had time to. I'm sure their minds are a blur. I'm sure the coaching staff is still trying to figure out what's going on. But I mean, it's almost game time, and like I just think about the fans. The fans have, like, you talk about, I remember when the Eskimos were the class of the league and then some. When they had the quarterback cuts at training camp, other teams were looking to sign them because that would become their starter. And for this once proud organization to be where they are now, it really hurts a lot of older fans. I'm hoping that this turnaround, this change in coaching, really does benefit both the team and those fans who really want to see a win.
Yeah. If they lose, Al, you have to go to Ford, do you not, for Game 7?
I think you do, and you, at the very least, one of the things that winning teams do is they use all of the people that they have on the field, all the people they have available who are healthy. Well, Ford, he can do a lot of things. Everybody talks about just his running ability, but there are things that he could do. So, going back to the glory days, I hate to keep bringing him up, but Warren Moon and Tom Wilkinson often played in the same game. They'd come out for different series, different style of quarterback, different look, and I'm not in any way saying that anybody's feet should be stepped on or anything like that, but this is not a winning team. You have to use every available piece of talent you have. And, looking at the depth chart, one of the areas that they actually have some depth is at quarterback. So, hell, use all three of them, and I think that that's something that we should see in the time ahead. It's not an either or. You can have different looks, and you can give the opposition, keep maybe off balance a little bit by using what you have. In this case, three quarterbacks.
Well, 100%. It's something to consider. Like, they got to get their running game going. Like, Brown had 800 yards in 10 games with Ford last year. He has 175 in 5 games with Bethel Toms. That's an average of 35 yards. So he's under half of what he was doing per game last year. So it's like, I'm sorry, you got to have it. You don't have to be 50-50 balance, but my goodness, you got to have you got to have a semblance of a running attack here to get your offensive linemen off the ball so they can be more physical. Because every O-lineman will tell you, if they're always in pass block, Al, you're on the defense more often, and that's not good.
Yeah, and they've made a small tweak here on the line, and then you've got, one of the things that I you can look for right away tonight is how well they're getting pressure. We talk a lot about interceptions and quarterback sacks, and those are great, but sometimes there are coverage sacks, sometimes somebody stumbles or falls down. But how many seconds does a quarterback have to make the play, whether it's a handoff or a little soft dump pass across the middle, or whether it's a something a little deeper? How much time does that? Can you go back, set, and make the throw, and then get comfortable? Because if that's the case, then they're in trouble.
Yeah, no question. Looking at the Oilers, we had AJ Jacobek on earlier, and he talked about Yavanti and how early in the season Ottawa had no cap space, Al, and so they were going with like 17 skaters, and he felt like if they had the room, he probably would have made their team. And so then he did come up and played 7 games, and unfortunately got injured in the American League and didn't play after January 10th. I look at the Oilers roster, and even if he has a great camp, I'm not sure I necessarily see room for him, and unless they're really worried about waivers, which I'm not necessarily sure they are or not. But kind of, what's your expectations of him coming into camp, or do you have him pretty much listed as a for sure going to Bakersfield?
Well, I think that he's among Savoy. There's a lot of guys who might be NHL ready in terms of talent, and they're likely headed to Bakersfield. The one thing that can bring them up is injury. This is especially on the wings. This is a roster that's got some age on them and some wear and tear. So I like the pickup. I think he's clearly more ready than Xavier Bourgault was, and I think you're kind of hoping, even though they're not exactly the same style, you're kind of hoping that he could jumpstart like a Klim Kostin did a couple of years ago. Not saying he's the same player, but that kind of impact should he get the opportunity. But I think going in, just based on what we know, You can just play the contract game where, okay, this guy's on a one-way, this guy's on a one-way, this guy can clear waivers, this guy can't clear waivers. It pretty much writes itself. The one area that will impact him and a lot of young players, I think, is injury. How many of these veteran players, Corey Perry, others, Derek Ryan, how many of them are going to be able to get to the starting gate, and how many of them are going to be able to stay healthy? That's the big question for all of these young guys.
Al, I know you've seen a lot of things in your time. Currently, the Arena Football League's championship is currently it's being played in a mall. It'd be like being playing at West Edmonton Mall, and it wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. Do you ever watch Arena Football League?
I did. Because I am addicted to any live event involving sports. Like when my kids were small, we'd walk to the park and I'd see Little League baseball and I'd stop and they'd go, "Dad, can we go to the park?" I'm like, "Let me just see this pitch." So anything that's live and a sporting event, I will watch. So I have watched it. It's a different vibe. It's like indoor soccer. You've got to kind of get used to it, but there are some great athletes in it, and that's what I appreciate.
You were here in the end of July. We had Alan May on. I want to ask your thoughts on the Capitals. Where do you see them this coming season?
Well, I like some of the moves they've made. I think the hard thing to do for any of these teams is transition from where you were. I don't know what you call them, a recent Stanley Cup winner, but I would. And now they're transitioning, and you've got to get lightning in a bottle a little bit if you're the Washington Capitals. You need an impact player who's 23. Who is that? Well, you know what? You play the games, you find out what you have. I like some of the moves they've made. I think they've gotten younger, but not lost. They've gotten younger, but are still NHL ready. They're not going with a bunch of prospects from my point of view. So that I like. The East is a weird, I have a much better feel for the West, or specifically the Pacific, probably because I stare at it all the time. But, Washington, what I like about them is they don't seem to be a team that is willing to go into a rebuild. They're kind of reloading. And unlike, say, Pittsburgh, who I think really are almost at the precipice of being too many old guys, I think Washington's trying really hard to get young, but not get inexperienced. At least they're moving guys out and they're moving guys in who are younger but do have some experience.
Yeah, the Capital. Where do you come out on Pierre-Luc Dubois?
Well, here's the thing. I liked him as a player. I still like him as a player. But the problem is you develop a past. I mean, how many cities is this now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, or what I always say this, but people get, they go, "Oh, they signed a big free agent and he sucked in year one." I'm like, well, sometimes it takes a year, but PLD doesn't get a year. So I don't know. I'm sincere in that. I think that there's enough of a concern, enough of a worry where you wouldn't just rubber stamp that, oh yeah, because what he represents is extremely valuable in the National Hockey League. It is. If he's playing at a level where you can expect him or would have expected him to play, then he's a driver. He is going to help you win. The problem is, why does he keep getting moved down the line?
That's a fair question. Well, really, he wasn't a Tortorella guy, and that's on a shock, right? Some guys they don't like Tortorella, so they don't like Winnipeg. He was like, you know what, I want to test free agency. He just came out and was honest about it. He went to LA. He didn't ask for the trade. I didn't think LA really put him in the best position. If you're going to acquire a guy like that, then pay him that much money, but then not play him in your top six, Al. It's kind of like we're like, well, we paid you all this money, but we expect you to be a superstar without being a top six player. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, the Kings are a funny team because they have all kinds of talent, but they keep kind of duplicating and replicating, and they're, the list of pretty good defensemen they've sent away in the last few years is shocking to me. So you make a good point about LA. They may not. There's a chance they don't know what they're doing, and that in fairness to Pierre-Luc Dubois, that would be a consideration too.
Yeah, I'm a big believer that part of your responsibility as an organization is put players in positions to succeed. Now, if you give them that chance and they don't succeed, well, at some point you got to change it. But he was really never given, if you go look, like very little power play time. And his actual points per 60 on 5-on-5 are pretty much the same as he'd been in other places. And he just didn't get to play as much, and he didn't get to play with as many talented players. So I'm curious. He's not going to get a better opportunity. He's going to be the number one center in Washington. He's probably going to, well, not probably, he's going to be on their first unit power play. And so if he doesn't have success this year, Al, then he better go find a mirror, and that's the only place he should be complaining.
Yeah, and because of the position he plays and his size, it'll be 3 more contracts before he's out of the league, guaranteed.
Yeah, well, yeah, it does help being a center who's 6'3", I think he is. So yeah, that definitely doesn't hurt, Al. Will you be talking about Ofer or a win on Monday?
Last second field goal, Elks win tonight.
Oh. Now, positive Al. I like it.
Hey, you know what? This much heartache is too much sorrow. I've got a lot of time for Edmonton Elks fans and Eskimo fans who've been, suffering like this. This team still isn't out of the pandemic, and so it's time. It's time for them to start even just one victory, just to give the fans some hope. I really hope they do it, and I'm not just for the fans, but for the players too and the coaches.
Yeah, no, that's fair, Al. Al, have yourself an awesome day, awesome weekend. Stay cool. Get some sunscreen on.
Oh my God, I'm telling you, I'm going to go outside, but I'm going to dart into the car and then drive around, and I'm going to get everything done by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning because it's so damn hot for old people. I'm telling you, Jason.
Now, Al, are you reliving your youth right now? Is it true that you've brought out the kiddie pool and you just, you're putting the hose in the pool and you're just hanging out?
No, but that's a hell of a suggestion, and I may do that. I think we've got a kiddie pool around here somewhere.
Oh, at this time, no one will judge anybody if they're in their kiddie pool in this weather.
Oh, no.
Like nobody.
No, if you see senior citizens running through a sprinkler today, no judging, none whatsoever.
Don't trip over the sprinkler, Al. Have a good one.
All right, bye-bye.
There you go. That's Al Mitchell. Well, you watch some of those videos of the people who, you got to stay young at heart. Honestly, if you got a kiddie pool, whatever it is. I saw there was the next door, no, not next door neighbor. I was walking my dog early this morning. She's black, and so it's really the only time, decently thick coat. So she doesn't like the heat. So I'll go walking early in the morning. It's fine with me. And there was a dog. They had a bucket. And that was like the dog's bath. And man, that dog was having the time of its life. And I'm just like, you know what? We just need simple things. You could just tell he's just like, thank goodness. It's amazing. So if you got one of those old kiddie pools, this is the time. Pull it out. No one's going to, if anything, your neighbors will be jealous. Look at Bob over there. Got a pool. Sure wish I had one of those. Well, show up with a 6-pack. Hey, Bob. Room, you know what? Maybe we can both sit side by side facing the other direction. Probably room. No one will complain at this point. We'll come back with 5 questions and more on the Positive Friday edition of the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Use the promo code SUMMER to get a free 50 casino to play right now at Play Alberta.
Rule number 41, never challenge a goose in the Bow Valley. They run this town and they know it. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
A premier hockey solution with a clear path for long-term development is proud to be entering its 8th season of independent borderless hockey, featuring provincial and cross-province competition with showcase style, regular season gameplay, and a strong commitment to individual skill development. It's an attractive option for those seeking family life balance. The Hockey Super League offers opportunities for both male and female athletes born between 2011 and 2016. Visit hockeysuperleague.com for more information.
The Bricks Big Block Party is back with incredible pricing on items in every department. Find up to 25% off dining and bedroom packages, up to 40% off mattresses, and up to $840 off sectionals and sofas. Also, from Thursday to Monday, shop our fantastic specialty 5-day deals and find everything you need to outfit your home this summer. Plus, on Saturday, July 20th, enjoy free pop and all beef hot dogs, specialty sales, and fun family activities. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Tim's Maple Bacon is back, featuring crispy, naturally smoked bacon with a sweet and savory maple glaze and a 100% Canadian fresh cracked egg, all on a new cheddar croissant. Try Tim's Maple Bacon breakfast sandwich today at participating restaurants in Canada for a limited time.
It's time for Tim's.
Employee pricing is on now at Chevrolet. Right now, get up to $10,500 off select Silverado 1500 High Country Crew Cab models. With an available 6.2-liter V8 engine and standard Chevrolet safety assist, including forward collision alert, getting out of the city and having a nice, quiet day on the beach is easier than ever this season. So relaxing. Ask your Chevrolet advisor for details.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Christensen Communities. Have peace of mind knowing your loved ones are in the best possible hands. Christensen Communities have safe retirement living options across the province. Now welcoming new residents, visit cdlhomes.com.
Look good, feel good, play good. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for listening to Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Drew, how are you? Welcome back. 833-401-1440 is the text line or well inbox. 833-401-1440. Lots and lots of tech. I do want to get to this one because this is a classic. We were talking about it earlier. Hey guys, somebody's saying they if calling yourself a professional athlete if you don't play in the sport is like Strud saying he's a doctor from pre-med. Ooh, yeah. We got other guys. I love people are naming names of the buddies that they knew who claimed they played, and then when confronted about it, they're like, "No, that's my story. I'm sticking to it," even though there is no data anywhere available on the internet that they played for said team. I guess you know what, as George Costanza once said, Jerry, it's not a lie if you believe it. Kids, don't take that advice. It's a classic, though. It is a classic line. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick, where saving you more is what they like to do. Up to 40% off mattresses right now, as well as 25% off of bedroom and dining packages. Check it out at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, question number 1. The Elks obviously set to play right away here. Kickoff in just over 10 minutes time. Can I get a score prediction and a bold prediction for the game tonight?
Well, bold prediction, we'll see Trey Ford take a snap tonight.
Ayo.
Yeah, I don't know how many, but we'll see it. And, oh, God, score prediction? Well, I don't know if I try. It's got to be high scoring. I don't see how the Elks can win a low-scoring game, so I will say 32-30.
I like it. Question number 2. Jarius Jackson's interim head coach era begins tonight. What does he need to do with this club to be made the permanent head coach moving forward?
That is an excellent question because the new owner is going to come in, and I think we're probably, a month away, less than that maybe, of that becoming official, and maybe longer. But so he gets hired, and I think the first thing, he doesn't get hired. He buys a team. The first thing he's going to do is likely want to, meet with Rick Lalsher. Rick Lalsher doesn't want to be the full-time long-term president. So I think that's got to be their number one priority. For Jarius Jackson to get a realistic shot to be the head coach, I think he's going to have to show legit improvement in the win-loss category. Because if they don't, like, they've got 13 games. I'm not saying he has to be 7-6 because I'm not sure that's realistic. Heck, if he could win, if they go 5-8, 6-7, then I think he would probably get good consideration to be that coach.
Question number 3. With the Olympics starting in 1 week's time, which Canadian athlete or Canadian team do you have the highest expectations for?
You got an answer?
Summer McIntosh.
No,
yeah, incredible freestyler, world record holder in the 400 individual medley, which is a very tough event for anyone who knows swimming. She is the one who I have the highest expectations for. The one I'm most looking forward to seeing how they fare is the men's national basketball team, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of intrigue, right? It's been so long since they beat France today, did they not?
They did, yeah.
Yeah, beat them quite well. I would, you know what? I'm going to stay local, man. I want to see Marco Arop in the 800 meters.
There we go.
I think this is a guy who's, he's right there. He's won the gold at the World Championship, so I got a lot of high expectations for him. I think he's really good. Sticking on the track, Andre DeGrasse. Probably maybe more in the 200 meters than I think in the 100, if I'm being honest. And then I'm curious what the women's soccer team, what they're going to do.
Question number 4. In honor of College Football 25 getting its worldwide release today, what is the best sports video game of all time? And if you want to get crazy with it, take it a step further, the best video game of all time, period.
Well, I know you're a big gamer, so go for it. Because I know you're actually buying a new console this week.
I am. I have to go to my way to buy a new console just to play NCAA 25. Not at all mad about it. My favorite game of all time, NCAA 08 on the original Xbox. I was the best of all time at that game, except for my one friend who I also told I was the best of all time at that game. Then he came over to my house and beat me. I'll never get over that. That was my favorite sports game of all time. Overall, I've never been a huge gamer outside of sports games, but when Fortnite was in its prime, I know it's a little bit of a lame answer. That one that was world peace from anyone who was aged 13 to 21. So I might take that.
Yeah, my son's just getting into that now. And I've watched him play, and I'm like, I could see how you would love. Like, he plays the game where there's like 100 people and you battle against each other, and then it's down to 1.
That's the appeal. Like the whole battle royale aspect of it, very, very fun.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, sometimes you're in the 100, but there's some guys that are groups, and so I'm like, well, that seems easy, right? Because if nobody else is, if you're there as 2 or 3 and you're as a group against others, well, of course you should win.
So so you can play squad modes, but if you go into the squad mode as a single player, that's on your own volition.
Oh, okay.
So you've kind of, you've
maybe he did
made
that
your
by
bed.
accident.
You gotta, it happened. I've done that before, so it does happen.
Okay, because I was watching, like, well, this seems kind of dumb.
That's for like the real hardcore video game streamers. They're the only ones who can like do that successfully.
Oh, okay. So it's a challenge. All right. I would say best sport one. Like, again, I'm aging myself and I haven't played any recent ones. But,
NBA Jam.
You know what? I'm gonna go with the old school Punch Out. I love Punch Out, man.
That's a good one.
And like, I wasn't great at it, but God, it was such a challenge. If you could ever beat. Like, for me, I could never, I think I get like to 5th or 6th stage and then I could never go longer. And it was just like, God, why can't I? So I just liked it though. It was funny. And you know what? I have it on my old school game now. And so my son plays it and we watch it. And of course I don't give him any tips. And so he's always losing it. So I can throttle him. So I kind of like it. Because in any of his games, like, I got no chance, right? Like, if you start on a controller that has 87 gazillion buttons, you learn how to figure it out. If you don't, guess what? I got no chance. Like, I realized it quick. I'm like, this sucks. Because it's no fun to play when you're no good, which is like the worst parenting advice. Because I was, well, you can't expect to be good right away. But I'm like, well, I'm an adult and I should be okay. And I'm not. So it's frustrating.
I hear you. Like, you're playing Pong one day, you wake up, it's 30 years later, and you're playing PS5 with 900 buttons.
Yeah, like I'm playing Galaga. And I'm like, guess what? I got a button and I got a joystick. This is pretty simple. I can stay within the realm here. Left hand, right hand. I'm good. So if I go all-time favorite video game, it's still Galaga. I love it.
Question number 5 for this hypothetical Friday. Would you rather meet your future self and ask him one question, or meet your past self and tell him one thing?
Oh, that's a real deep question. So future
Big brain
self,
over here.
ask him one. And so if I'm asking my future self, then I come back?
Yeah, you're like time machine for 5
Time
minutes.
machine, 5
One
minutes.
question. Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of, I'm right around the halfway mark of potential life. So I don't like knowing the future very much. So I don't know if I'd want to know that. I would go back to the past, and I've loved my life. It's worked out very well. Except maybe but if you change one thing, then it might change a lot of things, right? So that's my challenge here. You know what? I'll say this. It wouldn't change anything, but I go back to my past, and if I could tell him that, okay, you know what? Prepare yourself for when your dad is going to die, that'd be the one thing. Wouldn't change my life strategy at all, but if there would be a way, maybe I would have had an extra beer with him for a time, I would like that. That's the one thing. If I could have anything right now in life, it would be a Friday or Saturday night to have a beer with my old man. That is, anybody out there who has that opportunity, I highly recommend you take advantage of it. Especially if you're the son. And I loved it. Like me and my dad, we didn't have these deep conversations at all, but it was just, in his presence, we'd have a few laughs. And I really enjoyed that. And I realized later why he enjoyed it so much. Now that I'm a dad, like I cherish the time when my son's like, hey, Dad, you want to have a catch? Like, Kevin Costner, the tears are going. I get it. I totally get it. So that would be, if I could somehow know that I would, relish one more. That would be it.
No, it's a good, deep, profound. Well, I mean, that answer was so much more profound than what I was going to say.
That's fine. Doesn't happen. But
I mean, listen, I was just going to go back in time and tell myself UMBC moneyline 2018 NCAA tournament. So now I kind of regret you.
No, but dude, that's fair because, wouldn't you want to go back in time and say, like, hey, when I said I was the greatest, I wasn't. So I need to get the greatest before I say I'm the greatest.
Yeah, that would be up there too. But the confidence can live on. That's whatever. You only have one chance to bet UMBC is the 16 seed. So.
Well, that's true. See, you're right. That's fair. I get it. That's that's like Back to the Future, right?
Yeah, the Biff Tannen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. He had didn't he have the Sports Almanac?
Gray's Sports Almanac.
Yeah, and he was killing it. So yeah, I could
go into
understand
the casino
that.
business after, become a mogul. Yeah.
Oh yeah, play Alberta's like, wait a sec, how's this guy know all the answers?
Come back out of the time machine and play Declan.
Like you think about that would be like if there was such a thing as time travel, God, it would be you now depending, some people would use it very badly. Others could just use it, for some self-benefit that maybe didn't harm anybody else.
Well,
it would be a wild ride.
I guess that brings up a question in and of itself. Like, if time travel was real, would you do it? Or would you just be too worried about the potential risks?
Well, they always say in time travel that if you change something, then it alters everything.
That's what I'm saying, right? So, like, is it worth it?
Like, I could see for some people that have had very traumatic, negative experiences in their life. And losing my father, I don't put in that category. That's part of life. I'm talking about people that have somebody who gets raped and different things like that, because that alters your life forever, right? Like, especially for young kids, it rewires their brain, unfortunately. So those people, I could see why they would like to go back in time and be on a different path, right? Like if you could have it, so, hey, I'm not living by that neighbor or whatever, however, went about uncle, whoever it was. So I could see them, but I feel I'm pretty blessed. Like when I sit down and I look at how my life has played out to this point, the worst thing that happened to me was losing my father. The other things that happened to me, yeah, they sucked, miss a job here, whatever, but I'm pretty happy with where my life's at right now. So I wouldn't want it to change, especially when I look at what others have to deal with. I feel I'm pretty blessed. That's how I always look at it. So yeah, I wouldn't want to go back in time if it was going to risk and change where I was. Would you?
I mean, I'm in a little bit of a different position because I'm still, relatively young in terms of life experience, just experiences lived, etc. There's not too again,
did you just call me old?
No.
Way of saying that?
No. Back up. But again, like you make such a good point. Like I don't want to turn this into, a societal, cultural thing, but we are truly so blessed and we don't realize it often enough. And there's not much I would change except for that, that one UMBC money line bet, like I said.
Yeah. Well, had you known that one, it would have been, you'd have had to place a lot though. That wouldn't it have garnered suspicion? Only maybe not. Maybe someone says, well, this guy's just playing the odds that eventually a 16 is going to win.
Yeah. Maybe I would bet 16 seeds for 2 years beforehand. And then on that third year, big whack on it and let it hit.
Yeah. That's very true. I'd ask the question out there to people. Would you do time travel? if you could go back in time? Would you do it? What would you do? 833-401-1440. We'll come back. Specs got a few articles he wish he didn't write. No. We'll talk to him after Sports 1440 update brought to you by Albatross Roofing. And they are hiring. They're looking for experienced flat roofers and sheet metal fabricators. Must have experience with SBS modified bitumen roofing systems. You can apply at roofingalbatross.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update, CFL action as Week 7 gets underway. Edmonton Elks about to go here out in Ottawa against the Redblacks, the first game of Jarius Jackson's tenure as the Elks interim head coach. One other game in the CFL today will see the Winnipeg Blue Bombers taking on the Saskatchewan Roughriders with a 7:30 Mountain Time kickoff. Edmonton Riverhawks in action at home in the first of a 3-game series versus the Springfield Drifters. First pitch down at Remax will be 7:05 p.m. Open Championship standings, if you missed them, Shane Lowry currently the leader through 2 days at 7 under. Justin Rose and Daniel Brown both tied for second at 5 under. 2 Canadians making the cut. Corey Connors tied for 7th at 1 under par, and Mackenzie Hughes tied for 13th at 1 over. Adam Hadwin and Nick Taylor missing the cut in this year's Open. One score from earlier today in the MLB, it was the Diamondbacks over the Cubs 5-2. 2 games in action right now. The Phillies leading the Pirates 3-0 at the bottom of the first, and the Reds and Nationals tied 0-0 in the end of the first. Later on today, we'll see the Rays and Yankees out in New York, Mets and Marlins in Miami, Padres and Guardians, and of course, the Toronto Blue Jays in action. First pitch set to go in just about 5 minutes time here as Detroit is in Toronto taking on the Blue Jays. Chris Bassett on the mound in that one. Other Blue Jays news is they have activated right-handed relief pitcher Yimi Garcia from the 15-day IL and recalled right-handed reliever Eric Swanson from AAA Buffalo earlier today. Other pieces of news in the sporting world as Kenyon Drake, longtime NFL running back, set to announce his retirement, and the Baltimore Ravens are signing 2-time Pro Bowl safety Eddie Jackson, who has spent his entire career up to this point with the Chicago Bears, to a 2-year contract. In hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll hear from Sportsnet's Mark Spector. I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
The summer road lays ahead. Your potential destinations are endless. Volvo Cars Edmonton gives you choice to match. Right now, lease a 2024 Volvo XC90 from 0% for qualifying loyal customers, or save $7,000 on all new 2024 XC60 recharge plug-in hybrid models. All demo vehicles come with a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty. No matter what you decide this summer will become, your first choice is Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
In 1973, deep in the basement of an Edmonton family home, an elite team of specialized forces came together to form Action Electrical.
Action Electrical Divisions assembled.
Projects team reporting.
Service team reporting.
Testing team reporting.
Energy team reporting.
Supercharged with skills in their electrical fields and grounded by strong family values. Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is still the #1 company for families who don't want to see dad in his underwear. Come on, we warned you about a heat wave a while ago, and lo and behold, here we are. So call Legacy now before the heat wave Steve convinces Dad to cool down in a kiddie pool in your front yard. Yeah, we've still got air conditioners in stock, and yes, you won't have payments or interest for 1 year. Keeping Dad from bathing in public during a heat wave. That's how you save your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Employee pricing is on now at GMC. Right now, get up to $11,300 off select Sierra 1500 Denali Ultimate Crew Cab models. With employee pricing, combined with Sierra's 6.2-liter V8 gas engine, 13.4-inch diagonal premium infotainment system with available Google built-in, plus available Super Cruise hands-free driver assistance tech, there's more reasons than ever to celebrate this summer. Hit it! Oh yeah! Ask your GMC advisor for details.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer service for all your residential needs. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Work week, boys and girls, ladies and gents. Hope you have fun plans for the weekend. I know many of you who are lucky enough getting out to the lake. This is like lake weather. Got to have a little bit of shade, but man, going in the lake all the time. Outdoor pool, they got to be packed right now. Absolutely packed. Probably got to get there early. Otherwise, you can't get in. Love the ODR. The outdoor pool. And I love the ODR. I like the outdoor pool as well. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get tickets $65 million up for grabs tonight for the Lotto Max draw. Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. Hey, boys, I'd go back to game one of the 2006 Stanley Cup final and make a few changes. From Ryan. Yeah. Well, hey. All right, now, it'd be interesting. What change would you make? Because remember, I know everyone's like, Bergeron. But what about the fact that they blew the 3-goal lead prior to then Rolly getting hurt? So, what would you do? You pick one play. Which play are you picking? Are you picking Rolly crashing, or are you picking the mishandle of the puck behind the net? It's a tough one. Let's get to the spec report now, brought to you by GS Construction, where they are, hey, you know what the one thing they won't change is their path to 50 years. Learned a lot, and they keep learning, keep growing, keep expanding, and they're hiring. Go to Indeed.com and look up GS Construction as Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, if you go back in a time machine, is there anything you'd want to change?
Oh, in my life?
Yeah.
Oh man, not that
few articles.
much.
Is there any article you'd want back?
Is there any article? Oh, at some point, nothing leaps to mind that, I mean, we got sued once in an article. I was right, but we didn't present it the right way, and we had to pay a price at the Journal. But frankly, I wouldn't change anything I did as much as I would change the direction our lawyers gave us on that story. You're supposed to be able to trust them, and they were wrong. However, my name was on the story, so I'll take it. So no, I don't have a ton of stories. I mean, I'm not saying they've all been perfect or I've always been right, but I think that's part of life. I'm not a guy that looks back that much.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't, I've had a couple jobs that didn't go the way I wanted, but would I change that? It's all part of life's experience, man.
Sure. The only thing, if I could make one change, was I wouldn't have tweeted out the information I got on Danny Heatley. That would be the
Okay.
one. I'd be like, oh yeah, you know what? Did not know he had 2 agents at the time, and the second agent wasn't as powerful as the first agent.
There you go. And
So it was a good life,
there's for
good learning
sure a
lesson.
couple tweets the guy'd take back. I mean, there's
Yeah.
no doubt about that. But frankly, I've erased them from my memory.
The Edmonton Elks. So if they lose tonight,
Oh, they're not
Do
going
they
to
have-
win. They're going to win.
okay, well they might, but if they lose, and I don't care if they lose by a point, I don't care if they lose in overtime. If they lose, do they have to start Trey Ford next weekend against Hamilton?
Well, Davis Sanchez just promised the nation on TSN that Trey Ford was going to get into this game.
Well, hey, I said that. I said that today too. I don't, he's going to get some snap tonight somehow, some way. I don't see any way he can't.
Yeah, I think that the state that this franchise and this organization is in, and the call in town, I think frankly, there's an old saying in hockey, right? When the minute you start listening to the fans, you're going to be one of them. But I think there's a little bit of a difference here. Like at some point, there's not many fans left here, not enough of them right now. The ones they have, they got to throw a bone to. Like when they're chanting the guy's name, and you're 0-5. I would seriously consider giving those fans a reason to buy a ticket next game, because if they don't win tonight, they're 0-6, and the second half of this season they're going to be playing in front of 5,000 people. So Trey Ford's a part of turning this thing around with the fans, maybe more than he is about turning around the field.
Yeah. Well, no. Hey, there's lots of fans who want them, and I know there's some people. I'm not saying that Trey Ford will fix, because he has nothing to do with the defense. And the defensive side of the Elks right now is not very good, no question about it. But I do wonder, when I look at the numbers from last year, when Trey Ford was in, the Elks ran the ball better, and I'm talking from the running back, not from Trey Ford. And Trey Ford obviously helped too, but from the running back. And I really like. I'd have to go back and break it down. And next time we have the OC on, who's now the interim head coach, I'm going to ask him: did Trey Ford's scrambling ability help your running game?
Well, that the threat of a scrambler helps pretty much everything. Certainly play action. People have to worry that he's not going to hand the ball off. He's going to run around the side. Defensive linemen have to stay in their lanes and keep the quarterback inside between the tackles, or he's going to get away on them. So they rush differently. Like we all know this, just the threat of a running quarterback makes the defense act differently, frankly, act more defensively. They can't just pin their ears back like they say. So I think, and that's the deal with Bethel Thompson. He's never going to run. He can't run. He doesn't run. He won't run. He ain't running. So it's sure, he might be a better quarterback in a lot of ways than Trey Ford, but defenses don't fear him the way they fear Trey Ford, because he doesn't have the same weapon that Trey Ford has.
Yeah, no, that's completely fair. And, and right now the way their defense is playing, they're giving up deep ball after deep ball and getting burnt on big plays. Like Drew Brown's looking like he's Ricky Ray and Anthony Calvillo combined in one. So right now, the one thing I guess Bethel Thompson is, they're like, well, we're playing from behind lots, so let's put our throwing quarterback in. There might be some truth to that.
Hey, for sure. We've said it, and we'll say it again. Until they solve the defensive side of the ball, as Ottawa goes down the entire field here on their very first possession, until they figure out the defensive side of the ball, it doesn't matter. They're not going to beat everybody 40-37. They got to get some defense. They got to get more stops. This is really on Chris Jones, the general manager. Like, I don't think Chris Jones forgot how to coach a defense, but he doesn't have good enough defensive players, because they just got scored on a major on their first possession of the game for Ottawa. But this is on, they don't have good enough defense. They don't have good enough players. They can't stop anybody, and they haven't been able to stop anybody for 3 years, right? At what point do we figure it out? Defense wins championships. This team's got the worst defense in the league.
Yeah, it's not ideal. That is for sure. Spec, you look around the sporting world right now, and there's like the Olympics are a week away. And, Canada, Marco Arop here in Edmonton, 800-meter world champion.
Yeah.
He comes in, and they're There hasn't been a lot of talk. Like, is there an event? Is there an athlete that you are interested to watch starting on? Well, I guess technically next Saturday because the opening ceremonies are Friday. But somebody that you're intrigued to watch at this year's Olympics.
Well, I think it's weird. You kind of just named him for me because I've never really seen this Marco run the 800 very often. Like, first of all, we don't see enough track on TV here in Canada, and second of all, the 800 is an obscure event, man. Like, nobody, they're kind of not sprinters. They're kind of not distance guys. So, the fact that if he wasn't a Canadian, I'm not sure we'd get the 800 on our TV screen here in Canada 2 weeks from now. So I think that's the guy. That he's an Edmonton guy. I love track and field. I think, how would I say, Jay? I love every summer watching all the sports that you don't get to watch for 4 more years. Like, I'll watch a team handball game, I'll watch some table tennis, right? I'll watch weightlifting. I love all that stuff because for 4 years, it's not on TV again. I can watch hockey all the time. I can watch soccer all the time. I don't care about tennis in the Olympics. I don't care about golf in the Olympics. It's on all the time, right?
Yeah, fair points.
Give me something goofy that's an Olympic sport. That's what I want to watch.
Oh, I love watching trampoline. Like, to me, it's like, honestly, like, it is amazing. Like, we grew up as kids on the trampoline, and obviously it was not a trampoline like they have at the Olympics, but just as high as they get with so many turns and twists and flips. I love watching a routine on trampoline. I think it's outstanding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a girl from Toronto. What was her name?
Rosie McConnell? Is that who it was?
No, last name was the same as the singer. Oh, it's escaping me. A girl from Toronto that won the gold medal on the trampoline. I was there.
Yeah, Rosie McLennan.
Was that who it was?
Yeah, I'm sure it's Rosie McLennan.
I got a different name, but anyway, or maybe she won a silver. I can't remember. We're going back to 2000 here. But anyway, it's fascinating. And if you ever get a chance to see it live, it's even more fascinating because the height they get is unbelievable. And the things they do are unbelievable. It's like gymnastics. I'm not a gymnastics freak. I don't sit and study gymnastics. I can't even name you a current gymnast barely. But when it's on TV in the Olympics, I find it fascinating. The guys doing those rings routines. I mean, is there a stronger athlete in the sport than the guy that can do that rings? I love that stuff. So hopefully the weather gets a little worse because if it's 28 degrees, I doubt I'm sitting on the couch all day watching Olympic sports, Jay.
Dude, Rosie McLennan, she won in 2012 and 2016. She was the first Canadian to repeat as gold medalist in an individual sport at the Summer Olympics. So.
Is that right? Rosie McLennan.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am. So she was good. I think she finished fourth technically in 2021. I know they call it the 2020 Olympics, but it was obviously in 2021. And so she was right there again. So that's she was great. I like watching that. Gymnastics, like Simone Biles.
Yeah.
He is so good that it's like, for anybody out there listening right now, if you're just, and I don't care if she's American, doesn't matter to me. She is so dominant. I'll say this, she's like the Connor McDavid, but maybe more dominant in her sport. If you look at where she finishes all the time, like, she is unbelievable.
Well, and of course the hype machine in the US doesn't hurt either. When they get someone like Simone Biles that they think is going to win. Oh boy, nobody turns up the hype machine like an American network at Olympic Games.
Yeah, well, no, they love their Americans. All you gotta do is say, hey, Connor McDavid, you've already won 5 scoring titles. There's not many guys in any decade that have done that, but you're only 98th best athlete in the 2000s. It's comically bad. Spec, how is the father speech going for the wedding tomorrow?
Oh, speech is done. Speech is written. Feeling good. Everything's ready to go. The ladies are still running around with their hair on fire, I'll tell you that. But I'm chilled, man. I got my part done.
Are you going to be like, do you have dad inappropriate speech at there? Is this one going to be on the rails?
Yeah, no, it will not be that inappropriate. No, I'm not that guy. No, it'll be it'll be a normal speech. You know what? I'm here to tell you, and I've been saying this to anyone who listens. The worst part of every wedding is the speeches. Okay, I'm going to have a short speech. It's not going to be long. I'm going to try to, say the things I want to say in a short period of time. Nobody wants a 7 or 8 minute speech, man. Nobody wants a 7-minute speech.
All depends how good it is, but in most cases, you're right.
Oh,
If
man.
it's got some good humor in it, then people, put on a show up there. Spec, have a little humor.
Yeah.
Tell if you
I should have hired you to write it for me.
Nah, I don't know about that. I'm more off the cuff, better at. I can do good emotional speeches, not necessarily great joke teller.
Yeah, we're kind of working on that too. I like the odd laugh here and there, but frankly, I don't see it as a comedy routine. I'll have a nice speech. We'll send the kids off into life here, and it's a big day for the family. Everyone's real excited.
Yeah, it's a huge day. So enjoy the family wedding, and we look forward to crashing the party, Spec. So that should be boatloads of.
Yeah, you guys can all pile in for the drinks. Just wait till like dinner's done, okay?
Yeah, hey, no, dude, I don't want to come for dinner. I'll just come for the party. It's all good. Is there going to be any fire jumping later?
Well, it's at a golf course, so they probably wouldn't like if a guy lit a fire in the fairway. So no, I think the celebratory fire jumping will happen out at Alberta Beach sometime next week, probably after my golf tournament.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a great thing I learned about Latvian fire jumping many years ago. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah, baby. If there's one thing the Latvians figured out was how to celebrate and how to party, and it starts with a good tall bonfire and a guy drunk enough to want to jump over it.
Touche. Awesome stuff. Okay, thanks, Spec. Have a great weekend.
All right, Jay. Thank you.
Mark Spector in the Spec Report. Big day for the Spec family. Jelka, the son's getting married today. It's awesome. Or sorry, tomorrow. I should say tomorrow. Quick break. From good to bad to ugly, all in the span of 2 minutes. We'll discuss it next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
CW Eves Troughing is busy. That's why they're looking for experienced troughers to run one of their trucks. To get paid top rates, contact CW Eves Troughing at 780-435-1492 or email info@cweves.com. The summer road lays ahead. Your potential destinations are endless. Volvo Cars Edmonton gives you choice to match. Right now, lease a 2024 Volvo XC90 from 0% for qualifying loyal customers, or save $7,000 on all new 2024 XC60 recharge plug-in hybrid models. All demo vehicles come with a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty. No matter what you decide this summer will become, your first choice is Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Be melancholy, not melancholy. Summer is ripe for fun, and some Booster Juice bestsellers are back in season. Watermelon smoothies, including the refreshing Watermelon Wave, a berry burst of strawberries, raspberries, pomegranate, and vanilla frozen yogurt, and fan favorites, Watermelon Explosion, a refreshing burst of bananas, mangoes, and pineapple, both made with watermelon sorbet and probiotic yogurt. All of the watermelon, none of the seeds. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
The Bricks Big Block Party is back with incredible pricing on items in every department. Find up to 25% off dining and bedroom packages, up to 40% off mattresses, and up to $840 off sectionals and sofas. Also, from Thursday to Monday, shop our fantastic specialty 5-day deals and find everything you need to outfit your home this summer. Plus, on Saturday, July 20th, enjoy free pop and all beef hot dogs, specialty sales, and family fun activities. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
In 1973, deep in the basement of an Edmonton family home, an elite team of special forces came together to form Action Electrical.
Action Electrical Divisions, assemble!
Projects team reporting.
Service team reporting.
Testing team reporting.
Jackie Beck will get
reporting. Supercharged with skills in their electrical field and grounded by strong family values.
Vinci earlier from AJ Jackie Beck. We'll get to all of that and more.
Operating throughout Alberta at Action Electrical.
Earlier,
a premier hockey solution
are coming back. Lowetide
long-term development is proud to be entering its 8th season of independent borderless hockey, featuring provincial and cross-province competition with showcase style, regular season gameplay, and a strong commitment to individual skill development. It's an attractive option for
Friday
family life balance. The Hockey Super League offers opportunities for both male and female athletes born between 2011 and 2016. Visit hockeysuperleague.com for more information.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Employee pricing is on now at Chevrolet. Right now, get up to $10,500 off select Silverado 1500 High Country Crew Cab models. With an available 6.2-liter V8 engine and standard Chevrolet safety assist, including forward collision alert, getting out of the city and having a nice, quiet day on the beach is easier than ever this season. So relaxing. Ask your Chevrolet advisor for details.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Albatross Roofing. They're looking for experienced flat roofers and sheet metal fabricators. You must have experience with SBS modified bitumen roofing systems, and you can apply at roofingalbatross.ca.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.526. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Declan Kruger, and Elks fans. Not pretty. The Redblacks go. What are they on their first opening drive of the game? Drew Brown picked up right where he left off last week. He went 5 for 6 for 73 yards, and then they had Armstead had one rushing play for 3 yards. They basically just passed their way down the field. One completion to Rhymes for 36 yards, one to Pimpleton for 21. He had another one for 4. Addison had 7, and they're in the end zone. The Elks have an injury on the touchdown as Atrampong gets injured. He's the backup D lineman. Then the Elks offense comes in and they go 2 and out. And it is like if you could script a worst possible start, I don't know if I could. Their defense, if they don't get any pressure today, Drew Brown might put up 500 yards passing. He had 480 last time. Like this is, you might want to get Trey Ford in just to run the ball so the clock keeps running. So that keeps the game closer because there's less time. So we'll see. And just as we talk about, see, hey, look, the Elks just got some pressure. Amazing what happens when you get pressure. Stunning. So almost out of safety. We'll see. Hey, guys, the event I like most is diving for some reason. Buddy, diving's awesome. Like, diving's another sport where there's a lot of people like, we can dive off the small diving board. You know, maybe some of you can do a jackknife. You know, maybe some of you can do a 1.5, right? Most people can at least jump off the board and dive. But then you go to the 10-meter springboard and that's pretty damn good. So there's so many of those sports that I like. It's awesome. Hey guys, in the 70s, we had trampoline trams touring the high schools from Alfred. What? Alfred, we need to hear more about that. Who was traveling around? Who is this? Hey guys, I would do time travel. I would travel back to the 80s so I could experience the Oilers Cup run. Before I came back, I'd invest in Microsoft and Apple. Smart investment. You'd be like Forrest Gump. Right? Forrest, hey, he knew what was up. He invested in in Microsoft, or was it Apple? No, it was Apple, I think. Right? Did pretty well. Hey, boys, in television, football was the best of the best. Remember in television? Now, Declan, you never played in television, have you?
No.
Okay.
No.
So in the Intellivision program, you could have in your controller, because it was like a rectangle and had the disc at the bottom, and then on the sides were the buttons, and then it had like almost like a phone dial pad. The numbers were 1 to 9. So in Intellivision, when you played certain games, you would have this little plastic thing that could slide down the inside of the controller to cover the numbers. And that's where you knew that that's where you should hit for certain plays. And so on football, you could put in the thing and you would see, oh, this is what I want to do for a certain play. It was quite advanced, very advanced. The worst was when your little plastic thing would get dented on a side and then it wouldn't fit in, or you'd rip it. The worst. Any Intellivision player will remember that. That was where you struggled. It became frustrating. All of a sudden, your little, it is like a quarterback of all, but think about a quarterback, Declan, you played football. So the QB, right? He goes to look on his wrist and he's got all his plays. And all of a sudden, that little sleeve falls off. Can't use it. Then what happens? Now he's SOL, isn't he? So that was such a great thing. Hey, guys, 9525, the Jerry Rice slant never missed from Ravencrest Dave. Now, there's an Intellivision player. That is unbelievably true. Oh, Dave, take me back now. The Jerry, think about it. Think about Deck. Jerry Rice. The one position where there's no debate who's the greatest of all time.
Yeah, like Jerry Rice was a cheat code in and of himself, and now you're telling me there was a game cheat code for Jerry Rice? Like I couldn't even imagine.
There was the Jerry Rice slant, right?
Man, I just want to say
9525.
So Intellivision was short for intelligent television, and it was a gaming system.
Yes.
I'm looking this thing up. Like I'm sure it was very, for its time was something else, but I'm looking this up.
Dude,
it looks like an answering machine.
Like yes, look at the controller.
Yeah, it's like a keypad.
Yeah,
with a little like rotary dial at the bottom.
We got to get a picture of it up on the Facebook,
we'll throw one up right now,
on YouTube page, because it's unreal. Now, see, that's like the Intellivision console there. That was the original one. We got the next phase one. Ours was gray, much better than that. But yeah, man, Intellivision was so awesome. Oh God, it was so good. It was bad. Like the white one. Yeah. The white one was the best one. So if you Google and you go Intellivision controller, right, you'll see the original kind of gray, the brownish one, but then go and get the gray one. Well, that's the one I had. And I felt like it was way more advanced. And, you had your cartridge, you put it on the side. Like it had horse racing. Amazing. Anybody who played, you had the furlong, right? The horse would be racing. You'd hear the whip and you had to time it to know when to whip the horse. Otherwise, you'd whip it too early and then the horse would die down the back straight. Or Snafu, another just great time-wasting game. Oh. Now, someone was telling me now that you can go, and there's a place where you can play this that has the old vintage Intellivision. And I don't know if it's in Edmonton, but anybody out there, let me know if it's true. Because I'm telling you, I would have lots of hours in my life dedicated to go there. And I would go play it again. Like, what about those of you who played Atari? Awesome. Right? Lots of good gaming consoles, man. Commodore 64. Declan's probably never even heard of that.
Just words and numbers over here.
Yeah. Donovan's feverishly typing away. What do you mean Commodore 64? Was this like a Mike? That's why I thought like Mike Commodore should have been 64 all the time. It was unbelievable. But like you look at Commodore 64, then you go look up it and you think this was a gaming console. Seriously, it looked like just a computer. It looked like a keyboard. Declan, go look at the Commodore 64. It was like a big keyboard to play video games on. Unbelievable.
You guys were just like taking things from around the house and turning them into video game systems.
Yeah. Go look up the ColecoVision.
You're like, oh, we have an old typewriter. Let's turn this into Commodore
What about
64.
ColecoVision?
Is that like a brand of kaleidoscope?
Yeah. Oh, almost. Oh, ColecoVision. Jeez.
Was this like in television, like the B version or something, or was this like the big spenders version? 'Cause they look pretty similar.
No, like in television was Atari was. I don't know anybody who played. There's lots of better gamers than me, but I don't know. I don't think in television was the most expensive one. Like I just don't think it was. So I because our family had one, so it definitely wasn't top of the line. I don't think so, but it was great. Like as a kid, that's all I knew. So it was great. The disc was a challenge. The disc was a real challenge. So, hey guys, we used to play golf for hours on our television. Yes, I played Pong from Lorena. Hey, 100%. Pong's a classic, man. Hey guys, the Vic 20. No, Elv, that's even before my time. Before my time. Hey, guys, Commodore Baseball was great. Had a screwball option when you pitched. It was amazing from Dallas. Think about that, Deck. Do you have any screwball options nowadays? Probably not.
I have to ask I'd have to ask your Remchuk. He's the big MLB show guy.
Yeah.
MLB The Show guy.
And guys, I had ColecoVision. Also had a Commodore VIC 20 where you had to queue up the cassette to a certain time counter to queue up the game you wanted on the cassette. Like, it would be amazing to, because, the young kids, they always say, oh, we're so technically advanced now. All right. Because that's what you've known growing up. I'll put you in a room with Intellivision, or even better, with Commodore VIC 20 and say, figure out how to play the game. Figure out just how to get started. That would be a challenge because it's not what you know. It's not what you grew up on.
If you gave your son an Intellivision and he gave you his PS5, who would take longer to start up a game?
Oh, him for sure.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, like PS5, well, I've seen him load it. It's pretty simple, right? Your screen comes on, you hit the buttons, away you go. So Intellivision wasn't that hard, really, but I would think he would have a way harder time playing Intellivision than I would playing PS5 just because of the disc. Like the disc was to go from a joystick to, well, they have you guys have your handheld controllers now. You buttons on the top for each finger. You're all ambidextrous with your thumbs and everything. Like, come on. Intellivision, no, it would eat them up. It would be, there would be tears. The only good news is you can't throw the Intellivision controller because it's connected. Right? It's got, you see how it's got the cord on it? You try to throw it, you just throw it, but it's not really going anywhere. Hey, guys, Commodore 64 was the greatest of all time from AH. Hey, guys, there was a console that had a game called Bonk's Adventure. Can't remember the console. Do you know what it is from Evan? Bonk's Adventure, Evan? I'd have to Google it. I do not know the answer to that. Hey, guys, Trampolines Tramps, they had a 3-man crew showing their skills and Shrill amongst them in the crowd. They'd bring him up and he'd be doing flips front and back, flying uncomfortably, freaking out the crowd. 3rd ranked in the world, unknown to everybody. What? Oh, there we go. Think about it. You had a legend in your school and you didn't even know about it. Coming around, I could see it. That's fantastic. I wonder if what would be the best today video game that you could play as like a tournament that would find out who was the best? What do you think would be the best game for that? Like, I guess you could put 100 person in Fortnite, right? 100 people, set it up and all 100 play and the best person wins. That would be one. Like, what about, could you have an NHL tournament? Would that be, is it fair? How would you work that? That guy don't play it. But if you had an NHL, whatever, is it NHL 23?
Yeah, NHL 24. That one would be fine. Just do it like bracket style, random draw, presumably, or I don't know how seedings would work, but that one would be fine. I think there are Super Smash Bros. Tournaments that go around in, cities, countries, whatever it may be. And that's a pretty big thing. And then when you branch out a little bit, I think Apex globally is another one that they do. I don't know how it works or how it's played, but I think there are some games that you can do legitimate tournament style, bracket style things to figure out.
All right.
Also, I'm looking this up. When the Commodore 64 came out, its price equivalence in 2023 money was $1,800. The Intellivision was $1,700. What? Yeah. So when the Intellivision came out, it was $385 Canadian, which was 1979, which is 1,700 today. And then when the Commodore came out, it was $595 in 1982, which is 1,880 today. So you guys were paying out the wazoo for these things. I respect it.
It was 325, but that might have been the brand new one. And I wonder what it would be like in television in like, I'm trying to think when we got it. I would say like 1984. Right? It's kind of like the first year of the computer is way more expensive than the fifth year. Right? I wonder what it would be like. Because 325, I don't think there's a chance my parents had $325 for a video game. I'd have to ask them. It's a good question. Jeez, that is a lot of money. You kidding me? Oh, yowzers. I probably got mine secondhand, maybe. No, I think it was new. I remember it's pretty sweet. We'll return. We're going to get to the oil report to wrap up a busy Friday edition of the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440 Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook, presented by our title sponsor, PlayAlberta.ca.
Rule number 12, not spending the afternoon tubing on the Pembina. Next, you'll tell us you don't wear flannel. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
I take possession of my commercial space in 3 months. I need lighting. I need a fire alarm. I need data. I need a generator. I need panels.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Projects team reporting. We design, build, and construct all the electrical systems for your projects. Need everything to work right? Get the Action Electrical project team on your site.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta and actionelectrical.net.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Hey, it's Scott from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge. It's our final clear out of classic Ram 1500 trucks, and I do mean final. This is your last chance to get 25% off a brand new Ram truck. We still have some inventory left, but when they're gone, they're really gone. Or get an iconic Jeep Wrangler with up to $7,500 off. 0% financing available on every model. And we have a couple of the rare 500 horsepower 392 Wranglers in stock now. St. Albert and Sherwood Dodge, Edmonton's best rated Ram and Jeep dealers.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. Professional athletes use aquatic therapy, radial shockwave, zero-gravity treadmills, and nomadic recovery devices for rehab. Leading Edge Physiotherapy offers those to you. Sports shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Ford sighting. So is it fair to say to anybody out there that Trey Ford clearly not playing was 100% on Chris Jones? I don't think there can be any argument, right? There can't be any argument, can there? Right? There just can't be. So I wonder what Chris Jones had against Trey Ford. Right? Like, did it not seem stubborn to you? Like, how could, and clearly other people in the organization think he's got something. Right? Like, to me, that's all you need to know about why it was well past time to get Chris Jones out of here. You have a young player who's clearly got some skill, and you don't even play him. That was their second offensive series. Correct, Deck? Second series? Mm-hmm. So there you go. Chris Jones, gone. Trey Ford in. Now, we'll see. I think that was the second series. I'm curious who they're going to go to in the third offensive series. Will it be Bethel Thompson? Will it be? Are we going to have a quarterback rotation? What do you think, Deck? Do you think it can work series by series?
Well, we're about to find out in moments time after Gray's interception there. I think, betting man, I'm putting my money on Trey Ford. He's back out there.
Yeah, so amazing that it lasted this long, right? So Trey Ford is back for the second series. So there you have it. We'll find out what he's got. Like I said, it doesn't mean he's going to solve all their problems. Right? This is week 6. Hasn't taken a snap all year. My question is, why? Like, don't tell me this is good handling of the player. I don't care what anybody says. And to me, it's not great handling of the player at all. At all.
And Jason, if I may, if he comes out, has a bad couple of series, there may be people who point fingers pretty quickly. Like you said, this guy has not taken one meaningful snap all season. There's going to be some degree of rust. I think we have to expect that, anticipate it, and be understanding of it. So if he's not lighting the world on fire in his first 3 series, just chill with the MBT talks. That's all I would say.
Yeah. Hey, boys, I bought my Atari in 1982 with newspaper route and birthday money, $269.99 from G. He remembers it. So there you have it. But Ford is in the game. Not a surprise. Hey, boys, I bought my Nintendo for $200. What do you mean? Approximately 1987-88. So yeah, I think the prices did go down a little bit. So, hey guys, I had the Intellivision, but he got me thinking about a system. My dad bought me when I was in like grade 5. It was called Coleco Adam. It used cassette tapes, and I remember playing Dungeons and Dragons for months, and then I finally beat it, and there was no end. I was devastated. Listening to the nostalgia in your conversations made me go back and look at the Wikipedia page. Turns out my dad paid $900. What the heck? From J Mac. Well, there you go. That would be it's big bucks back then, eh? Big bucks. So we'll see. Not a lot of offense outside of the openings drive here so far tonight for the green and gold, as well as the Red Blacks and the Elks defense. Give them credit. They got a sack. They've had an interception. So their defense has clamped down a little bit. Let's get to the oil report now, brought to you by VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. They are Alberta's #1 Volvo dealership. Why? Because unbelievable service. Also, you can get some great deals. Stop in right now. If you're looking for a new vehicle, I recommend the Volvo XC90 or the XC60. Get either one. You can get 0% on XC90s right now when you lease one at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. The Edmonton orders today is July 19th. I would say within 10 days, maybe even as early as next week, the GM spot I think is going to be filled. They've had interviews, different people. They're obviously doing their due diligence. My understanding was as of last night, no offer had been made to anyone. So obviously it's still an ongoing process. And to me, one of the big moves for the GM originally might be the conversation with Paul Coffey. And are you coming back as the coach? Obviously, Chris Knobloch will be in direct conversation with him. They want him back. And I think they really use him. They gained a lot of momentum with Paul Coffey as a coach. And I can understand if he doesn't want to do it for multiple years, but I think it would be beneficial for sure for him to come back for one more season. It would be really beneficial to them. I think, like Evan Bouchard, we saw took strides in his overall game, and you got a guy like Paul Coffey. I think it's going to help you continue, right? I think, you know what? Paul Coffey can work with Darnell Nurse. Nurse's first 2.5 months, 3 months under Coffey were great. It's whatever happened over the All-Star break. He's got to get back to the player he was pre-All-Star break. And I think Paul Coffey has the confidence. He has the experience, and he's not afraid to challenge his players. I call them out. It's kind of like a new age term. I'm not going to say call out a player. I think you have a respectful conversation with a player to say, hey, I think you're capable of more. This is what you need to do. And, one of the big ones will be Darnell Nurse. You're capable of playing more consistently. It would be hard for many people, I think, to argue that they need more consistency from 25 this coming season. And so, because if Coffey leaves, Mark Stewart could take over, but then you probably, you're going to hire another coach. And then, are you going to take Stewart off of the penalty kill? I don't think so. Why would you? He was fantastic. So there's always the ripple effect of if one guy goes, what happens? So I think, continuity for the Edmonton Oilers, I think it matters for lots of teams. I think it would be a real big benefit. And so that's going to be one of the big discussions early on in the tenure of the GM. Obviously, there'll be the contract talks with Leon Draisaitl. We all know that, right? There's the Holloway and the Broberg. But again, those are two contracts that there's not a lot of negotiation power. Well, very little for Holloway and Broberg. Neither one has played very much. So it's just not going to happen. Hey guys, typical Jones. If he doesn't like a player, that player doesn't get to play. For Nicole, you know what? He's very stubborn in that regard. And like I always said, the track record proved in Saskatchewan. Chris Jones as a coach, great. Chris Jones as a coach and GM does not work. The record does not lie. It's awful. All right, look at his combined record between Saskatchewan and Edmonton. It's not good in dual roles. Hey guys, do you think Jones would get another coaching job? I think, at some point, yes. But would it be a head coach in the CFL? Maybe, but definitely not. I would say that there would be zero chance any sane organization would give him the chance to be head coach and GM again. Why would you do it? Why would you do it? There's no evidence that would be a good decision. There's all the evidence that would be a terrible decision. So no, I don't know how they would do it. So, hey boys, screw the video game crap. I bought my first ever brand new skates at 11 with a newspaper route, 1979. Bauer Junior Supreme, 65 bones at Canadian Tire. Hey man, that's a big thing, right? You get a new pair. I never had my first brand new pair of skates until I was 17. I had an older brother, always had hand-me-downs. Just kind of how it was. Turns out they were always a little bit too big. Just how it goes. I'm sure there's many people out there the same boat. That's kind of how it goes. So we'll see. Hope you had yourselves a wonderful week. Next week on the show, we are getting close. We're going to talk a lot of Olympic preview, some of the athletes for Canada for you to watch, because of course the Olympics get going on Friday. We also will have, we'll talk lots about the Elks. Can they get a win? How did Trey Ford play? How did Bethel Thompson play? How much did they play? We'll break all that down. Also, Stingers, Riverhawks. Riverhawks will be coming back home. Should be exciting for that. Final week of the, I think it's a final homestand for them, so that'll be great to see. So have yourselves an awesome weekend. Please don't drink and drive. Don't be inebriated. Whatever you do, get home safe and sound. Let's get to a Sports 1440 update right now, brought to you by Well, your partner in power since 1976. For all your electrical needs, ewel.ca. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update, we start in the CFL where the Edmonton Elks currently trail the Ottawa Redblacks 6-8 with 11 minutes and 49 seconds left to go in the second quarter. Sam Achimpong did leave the game earlier with injury, and his status is unclear, and it's been Trey Ford in at quarterback for the last two series for the Edmonton Elks. The other game today in the CFL will see the Winnipeg Blue Bombers heading to Saskatchewan to take on the Rough Riders. Kickoff for that one will be at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time or following the conclusion of the Elks Redblacks game. Edmonton Riverhawks in action for the first of a three-game series with the Springfield Drifters. First pitch tonight will go at 7:05 down at Remax Field. Open Championship scores in case you missed them. Shane Lowry leading the way through 2 at 7 under. Justin Rose and Daniel Brown tied for second at 5 under. Corey Connor is one of 2 Canadians to make the cuts. He is tied for 7th at 1 under par. Mackenzie Hughes, the other Canadian making the cut, he's tied for 13th at 1 over par. 2 Canadians missing the cut after day 2 were Adam Hadwin and Nick Taylor. MLB scores around the league. It's the Phillies leading the Pirates 6-4 in the top of the 4th. At the end of the 4th, the Nats lead the Reds 4-1. Bottom of the 3rd sees the Rays and Yankees tied 0-0. Bottom of the 3rd as well between the Mets and Marlins. See the Marlins leading 2-0. Padres and Guardians tied 0-0. And the Toronto Blue Jays, of course, in action. They trail the Detroit Tigers 3-0 at the top of the 4th. One other game in action delayed in the top of the 1st due to rain is the Cardinals and Braves. And one final from earlier saw the Diamondbacks over the Cubs 5-2. For their game tonight, the Blue Jays had activated right-handed relief pitcher Yimi Garcia from 15-day IL and recalled right-handed reliever Eric Swanson from the AAA Buffalo Bisons earlier today. A couple other pieces of news in the sporting world. The NFL specifically, as longtime running back Kenyon Drake has announced his retirement. And the Baltimore Ravens have signed 2-time Pro Bowl safety Eddie Jackson, who had spent his entire career with the Bears up to this point, to a 2-year contract. That's going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Fox Sports Radio is up next. The Saturday Sports Setup will be by tomorrow at 9 a.m., and it will be the basketball show at 10. Carius and Douglas back Monday morning, 7 a.m. I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440.